Hello, Internet, your friendly neighborhood gremlin here, and today we're gonna play 100 Days of FAE FARM. So I guess let's jump into it. We find a message in a bottle saying that Azoria was in trouble and needed help. I guess we thought we were qualified to help, so we set off and end up losing our boat in a whirlpool. But we make it to Azoria, clinging on to what's left of the boat. When we get there, we are greeted by a woman named Merritt. She's the mayor, and she tells us that there is a house we can have, and then goes on to tell us why we might not want to stay here. Not really surprised we're the first person to take her up on the offer. Either way, we head to the house. It certainly is small, but the land surrounding it is quite large, and it is a farming sim, after all. When we head back out again, the mayor's waiting for us and asks us to name the house, then says that's between us and the house. And she doesn't need to know what we've chosen. She then gives us a set of tools, and we don't even have to swap between them. Trust me, this is not as nice as it sounds, and it's also kind of a lie. We'll have tools that need to be swapped soon. She set us out to clear some farmland, because farm is rather overgrown. Takes me a minute to figure out what arugula is. Those dark green weeds growing randomly out of the ground. I don't know. I don't think it looks particularly like arugula, but stylization and such. This is one of the reasons that tool swapping gets annoying, because unlike most games, picking things up from the ground is not a separate button. So don't try to do that when you're, like, say, holding a net. So the mayor gives us a bit of a tutorial, and we don't need a crafting bench to start crafting items, and the game lets us pull items from storage. So time doesn't stop when we're building or decorating, and the days are quite short. Why can't games just let us decorate and not be worried about wasting whole days in-game? Doesn't feel like too much to ask. Next up is learning about cooking and farming. To plant seeds, you need these, like, specific beds. I guess it's nice that you don't have to till the soil every time we plant our first seeds, and the mayor suggests we go meet a guy named Eddie. One of the lovely features of the game, we are going to try and point out good things and not only bad things. The game shows you where the character is on the map, and you can, like, select to follow them, and you can just, like, follow an arrow. It'll take you where you want to go, which is good, because people move and stuff, obviously. Eddie gives us a fishing rod and asks us to catch a fish. Here's the first tool that we have that doesn't fall under the auto-select option. We head down to the beach, and I have an awful time trying to jump back out of the water. I really feel like a rag doll in, like, the worst way. Fishing the game isn't hard, it's just kind of time-consuming, though using the opposite joystick to, like, aim your rod or whatever takes some getting used to. Still kind of a little bit awkward for me anyway. And of course, trying to get the fish interested in the lure feels harder than it should be, but then you just essentially play red light, green light with the fish until it lets you catch it. So we get the fish and some forageables from the beach before heading back to show Eddie our catch. He sends us to meet a beekeeper named Mel, who gives us a net, also exempt from the auto-select rule, and he sends us off to catch some bugs. On the farm, we fall into the water trying to grab a blueprint and have a fun time trying to get out of that. Oh, and if you fall in the water or do a whole bunch of other things, the game will reset you back to the default tool option, which, you know, is super fun. But we take the bugs back to Mel, and he sends us off to meet Chairwoman Pearl. She's in the marketplace and explains to us how selling things works and suggests we put some things up for sale. Apparently people will buy literally anything you put on the table. So we put some random junk up we've collected and go tell the mayor, which ends the first day in Azoria. When we wake up in the morning, we have quite a bit of mail. The only really important one is from a guy named Alaric, who asked us to come see him. So we water the turnips and head out to meet the wizard. The wonderful Wizard of Oz. On the way, we pick up more sort of like recipe blueprint things and try our hand at catching this adorable purple frog. We really should have emptied our backpack into storage first, because we have to leave the poor thing behind. Alaric explains that the town has a wild magic problem, and apparently we tell him we fear nothing, which is definitely a lie. I fear everything, but okay. Alaric wants to build us a magical staff, but is too hungry to work, so he asks us to bring him some foods. So we take our asses to the beach to go pick some mussels. Then we go home and boil up some shellfish, and finally empty our backpack, kind of. We free up some space anyway, and managed to pick up that frog we caught on our way back to the wizard. Give him the shellfish, and he tells us to come back tomorrow. We meet an explorer named Cleo, and then go on to catch critters and cut down some grass. We decide not to sell the fish, but we do put some more junk up for sale, and then we decide to check out the shopkeepers, who are, you know, hanging around the marketplace, obviously. Where else would they be? So most items in the game seem to require more than just money to purchase them. Really, it kind of feels like you have to craft all of the things yourself, but sometimes you also have to pay people for the privilege, I guess. There's no way to just, like, buy cute things for your house, and that kind of sucks. And we find the woman who sells clothes, and discover that to color anything in the game, you must first purchase dyes, which we haven't discovered the ingredients yet, but we do find the lady who sells backpack upgrades. And then we're back to running around, mostly aimlessly, waiting for it to be tomorrow. We end the day trying to use up our stamina, clearing out the farm. Alaric gives us a magic staff, which is also our weapon, and tells us we can use it to clear those nasty thorns away that have popped up around town. This completes Chapter 2 of the game, and we're left to our own devices for the rest of the day, so we go about clearing the thorns, which, you know, is always satisfying in games like this, but it seems we have much to learn, because while clearing thorns, we run into a black mist that we can't walk into. Being the task-oriented person that I am, we check the map and thankfully someone has a quest for us. We find a woman named Frida in the pub who tells us we should make friends with the villagers, which, might be more fun if they weren't just the same person in a different show, but nonetheless, she tells us to come back to her when we've made our first friend. There are only a select number of people eligible for this highest of honors, and it isn't really the kind of thing that we can actively spend the day doing, given that relationship points grow by a fixed amount once a day. But we open the map and decide we might as well introduce ourselves to Argyle, who does have some cute lines of dialogues about frogs and being a potter, but he does want us to give him frog sweat. What is he going to do with that exactly? So yeah, the romanceable characters are the only ones you can give gifts to, and they demand specific things depending on the day, which essentially means we have to go talk to them, find out what they want, and then go back home and get it out of storage, and then go back and deliver the gift. Yeah, I'm not really going to bother with this. And then we go and chat with some more people around town and collect blueprints and explore. The way we jump in this game looks absolutely ridiculous and also doesn't feel very controllable. And then we spend some time clearing at the farm and discover this seal thing. It's like a fast travel thing, but we definitely don't have the things we need for it yet. So, we'll be back to that later. And this is where we discover that you cannot pick up arugula with a net, which is why it should be 2 separate buttons. And just generally try to spend the stamina so it doesn't feel like we wasted a whole day. And then I gave up at 9:30. Thankfully, we have mail this morning, and Eddie wants to see us. So we water the crops and then get distracted on the way by clothes. I really love being able to dress up my character in these games, and FAE FARM definitely falls short in this aspect. We buy a couple things and decide to wear the blandest adventure outfit you've ever seen, because it's pretty much our best option at this point. Eddie tells us about the ship he lost to the whirlpools. He's not that bothered about his boat, even though he gave it a name, but apparently without the boat he can't fish, or fish as much. And so he wants us to do it for him. Like, we also don't have a boat, and you could probably do the task better and faster, but okay. So we're going to have to sell 3 fish. Don't know how that's going to stop the people of Azoria from starving. Honestly, just kind of feels like busy work, but hey, it's a task. So we go to the beach to fish and fall in the water a bunch of times. At least that doesn't scare the fish away. Argyle's on the beach again today, so we stop by to say hello before heading off to a river. To do more fishing, we drop off the fish for the quest, but it seems it won't have successfully completed until tomorrow when they've sold, so we go talk to some people and catch some more frogs and such. We find the spooky woods, but our tools suck and are going to need to be upgraded before we can do anything other than foraging here. But we do manage to pick up a ton of mushrooms and acorns. It also seems like there's a portal over there, but we can't reach it by jumping, so we carry on. And it looks like we found a second house. The door's locked, but we can use the storage shed. We put some food on to sell before the day ends. I discover how you can change the color of clothes in the game, and they've generously given us several shades of browny olive green. At this point, I was worried that since you have to buy dyes, they were limited use, so we don't do anything with that yet. We find a letter in the mailbox from the potion maker in town. Apparently we're preparing to explore the mine. That's news to me, but thanks for telling us you sell potions, I guess. We harvest the first turnips today, and then we plant them, and then we go to the market to sell all the food we made. Cooking does increase the price, like, a little bit, and it's really the only way to make money at this point, so that's what we're doing. We run into Jack, a man who is all about trees, and a romance candidate seems he wants us to give him snails. Do they all want really weird gifts? Like, what is this? We finally get back to Eddie, who tells us that his sisters will sell us some animals we can keep on the farm. I don't really want the extra responsibility every day, but to progress the story, we must buy a chiku. The one we buy follows us home, where we register him in the ledger, place down some food, and head back to tell the lady about our success, I guess. She tells us about waving to the animals, which is kind of fun, and sends us to her sister, who says she's going to teach us about feeding the animals. Pretty sure I just dropped off some food at the very obvious trough, but okay. Thankfully, the game doesn't make us go back and do it again, and we can redeem the quest immediately. She sends us back to Eddie, and he tells us about the mines that the potion lady mentioned. He seems to think that the cause of the whirlpools is somewhere in the mine. It seems that Cleo, our explorer, has locked them to keep the nasty jumbles inside. Jumbles are inanimate objects that have been animated by magic and are ready to fight. We've got a staff now, so Eddie thinks we could probably handle it. And besides, that's where the whirlpool source is, and we must fix that at all costs. So we go find Cleo. Well, first we stop and tell Frida that we've made friends with Eddie, and talk to the town carpenter, Aspen, and lets us in on how this game lets you raise your stats. With the cozy score of your home, different furniture pieces will give you different stats and that sort of thing. And he challenges us to get our house to coziness level 5. The calendar says that it's Eddie's birthday today. Did we just miss the option to give him a gift or tell him happy birthday? Why tell us it's someone's birthday if we can't do anything with that information? We do eventually make our way back to Cleo, who is worried about giving us the key to the mines. We tell her about all the thorns that we got rid of, though that seems objectively different given that thorns don't fight back, but plot convenience and whatever. Anyway, Cleo says we can have a key if we can buy a healing potion and cook up some food. We get distracted by digging up sand on the beach and meet a guy named Bjorn, who apparently tells nautical tales. I'd really like to listen to some of those, but we're stuck with the lines of dialogue the game gives us, so I guess we'll just believe him about that one. We go home and we vet our chicken and give it some pets. Unsure how we talk it into going outside, we set off to see Vera and buy a health potion. We stop and tell Erlene that we waved at the chiku and stop by Eddie again to see if we can't do something for his birthday. We can't, but apparently he has a shop where he sells us the fishing rod upgrades, so that's good to know. We then do some fishing. And I struggle with the fact that you're expected to use the right stick to aim, but I'm probably just bad at video games. And we get the food on just under the wire. We pick up the food bits, water the turnips, remember to pet and feed the chicken, and head out to see Cleo. She says we can have a key, because we can buy potions and cook. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth, I guess. She tells us about dungeon seals, which are kind of like keys, which allows us to fast travel between levels, and of course keeps the door to the sealed floors open. Sounds backwards, but don't think about it too hard. So a guy named Jeremiah wants to tell us about fertilizers. He talks about spring soil, which isn't a thing in the game, by the way, but I guess it does roughly explain the need for FAE realm soil beds and flower beds without spoiling the FAE realm thing. And it seems that fertilizer in the game does not only speed things up or increase the yield, but can also change crops to different crops. He also says he gives us some bounteous fertilizer to test out. He is a dirty liar, but we won't realize this until later. Currently very keen on delaying the mining thing, we find another side quest from Pearl. His quest is to buy a produce stand from her. Yep, that's it. Stand costs 2k and our reward is a measly 500. At least it'll be useful to be able to sell things from the farm, and we didn't have to supply the materials ourselves, so it's not the worst thing in the world, but also not really a quest. The flower vendor also has a side quest for us. She wants us to make a pink flower, which you can only do by breeding hybrids. Works pretty similar to Animal Crossing. Just leave a space, water the flowers, and hope for the best. Can't really be bothered in Animal Crossing, and I can't really be bothered here either. But we'll get her the pink flower because she asked for it. By 10 a.m., we finally enter the mine. And we mine. To open the doors to the next floor, you must find a button. And here I waste a bunch of time because I don't know what the copper rocks look like yet. When we see them, it will be very obvious. But I don't know that yet. I mean, I should have, but I didn't. Level 2 does have copper rocks, and we've only gone and used half our stamina on the first floor, but that's okay. Making mistakes and learning is one of the reasons I really like to go into games blind. We mine all the copper we can find, and on floor 4, we run into our first jumbles. These guys are really easy and aren't usually aggressive unless you attack first. But we're pretty low on stamina and decide to leave the mines for the day. Go investigate what we need for a seal crafting station and such. We make one, and then foolishly don't realize that flower beds are a specific thing and not the same as soil beds. Here's another feature of the game I really like. When you destroy something you've crafted, you get the resources back. But we don't have the things we need to make the flower beds yet, so wow, that'll wait till later. I was kind of led to believe that the shops in the game would be always open. This is not true. They don't stay open until midnight when we go to bed. It's not like a big deal, but also a weird thing for people to harp on. I don't know that the game developers ever did. It may have just been reviews and stuff, but a weird thing to say if it's not true. Anyway, I guess the backpack upgrade will wait until morning. We then try to investigate crafting furniture to increase our house's rank, but the day ends instead. Alaric has sent us a letter to tell us we can fight jumbles with our staff. We're a bit late with that advice, but thanks anyway, I guess. He suggests we talk to someone named Drac, the battle master. We pet and feed the chiku, and then head down to see Sky and buy the backpack upgrades we tried to buy last night. And then we're off into the mines again, this time armed with a knowledge of what copper rocks look like. We do pretty well for ourselves and feel like we've got enough copper to complete Cleo's quest before 1 p.m. when we head off and craft us a seal, or 5. We can make 5, and mines usually work in 5s in these games, so why not, right? The chiku is outside, but still not getting its fresh air checkmark. Try waving at it in case that might work. Who knows? The fresh air checkmark is a mystery. Having crafted the singular seal that we need for Cleo's quest, we take it off to hand in, and she tells us about upgrading our tools, so that will be the next goal. We swing by to see Drac, and his idea of teaching us combat skills is asking us to defeat enemies. Yeah, that checks out. We stop and see Cinder to find out what we'll need to upgrade the pickaxe, which is 1 copper ingot. That'll be easy. So we craft a stone forge and very inconveniently do not have enough copper to make an ingot. Probably didn't need 5 seals. We decide to make some glass because I desperately want glasses. We go back into the house and make our first cozy furniture item. It seems like there are 3 different categories of benefits. I mean, that makes sense. Health, stamina, mana. Wow, probably didn't need to explain that one to you. And only furniture items count, not decor. And we learned that a furniture item only counts once, and duplicates do nothing. Good thing we can get the resources back. So it turns out our glasses also need copper ingots. To the mines! Where we place seals. Mine copper and fight jumble. Turns out the 5th level requires the next seal up. We'll eventually figure out that it goes by 4s, but you know that this took me an embarrassingly long time to realize. Not the end of the world, really. We need the first seal to craft the second one anyway. We run into a new jumble, the mimic chest, also fairly easy to deal with, but definitely aggressive. Ample copper in hand, we head out of the mines and craft some ingots. With the first one done, we rush down to see Cinder and get a copper pickaxe. And go to Cleo, who tells us some metals in Azoria have been infused with wild magic. Iron is one such metal. Don't tell the Fae, I guess. And if we make tools with the magic metals, that will give our tool a magic ability. So we should, do that. We swing home to get another ingot and buy ourselves some glasses, and I love them, so it was well worth the effort, I guess. We decide to do a spot of fishing. Fishing in this game sure is tedious. I'm very excited about getting a better rod. Catch 22 of it all, though, is we must fish to level up, be able to buy a better rod. I'm gonna stop mentioning it unless something like worthwhile happens, but do know that we go in and feed and pet the chiku and water the crops every day. We also do a bit of cooking. Even though it's not really worth that much, we continue to sell all of our food instead of eating it. Weirdly, rare fish do not make the cooked fish cost more, so you actually lose money if you cook better fish. We stop by to see Cinder, and with our final 2 copper ingots, we upgrade the axe and the shovel, and then we go mining, because we've now used all of our copper, and we're also going to need some iron and some citrine. Also, I'm not big-brained enough to have considered the fast travel part of the seals yet. No, I don't know why this is going to take me as long as it is, but it's not really that bad yet since the last seal we placed was on floor 4, and there is copper that we need on the way. We've defeated 10 jungles, so we go and see Drac. But he doesn't have a follow-up quest or anything, so we head in to get some good use of our upgraded shovel and axe to acquire the things we need for the flower bed, which we then place. Unlike anything else, you do have to have the seeds in your backpack to plant them. No, I don't know why I planted the flower beds off-center like that. We head into town to put a few things on the market and look longingly at the dye packs for which we still haven't discovered the items we need. We craft a few more seals and look into making more machines to acquire the materials for furnitures. We head out on another mine run. We are on the hunt for iron, certain that we can find it in some of the rocks we've been hitting because we have iron ore in our inventory. Instead, we get a bunch of coal. However, this is useful for crafting, so not that bad. We've used up our stamina by 2 p.m. and are being really stubborn about the whole food thing. Conveniently, fishing and bug catching doesn't use stamina, so we do some of that. I'm weirdly addicted to bug catching, even though it is extremely frustrating and takes several swings, which the game says is to be expected, so it's not that I'm that bad or anything. Still kind of annoying though. Also, I totally forget about the produce stand on the farm and continually run back to the market. But we're off to the mines again, and we craft some more seals. We also make an iron ingot, but we don't have enough iron for 2. And we are finally high enough fishing level to upgrade the rod. Today's the first day it's raining, so that's exciting. I'm excited. With enough iron, we go and see Cinder to upgrade the pickaxe, and we get a copper sickle. And then we're off into the mines and very quickly try out that magical ability. Honestly, it's rarely worth it, as the things we need often aren't clumped together in a small enough box, and we will accidentally use it more often than we do on purpose, but it's there, I suppose. We continue mining, hoping to find more iron, mostly, but we get a bunch of copper and citrine, so it's not like a wasted day or anything. We have that magical ability, be kind of useful, but the box is rather small. We also run into a new kind of jumbo on our way down the mines. This one's called an octawheel, and while hitting the others seems to stop the attack, doesn't really work with this one, and we're gonna start getting hit a lot more often. There's Peridot on floor 9, which we need for the next step up in seals, but as we're out of stamina, we take our leave and go find Cleo. She gives us a secret key to unlock the 16th floor, and then challenges us to get down to the bottom of the mines. We go home and clear some more of the farm while crafting things we need for furniture, and we make a beverage station, because why not, I guess? And then we craft ourselves some tea. We also have the gems we need for 2 of the seals around town, so I go around and try and figure out which ones that is. So it's raining again today, and we're wandering around all limp and weird. Guess I just didn't notice that yesterday. And of course, sometimes the little like ghost thing pops up over our head because it's raining. We go into town to purchase some more seeds, then come back to expand our garden. Mostly just because we don't have to water it today. So it feels like a good idea at the time. We don't have a huge amount of materials, but we get a few more in before heading to the beach, hoping for dig spots, get the stand that we need. We don't have a whole lot of luck there, but apparently we're flirting with Argyle now, and we decide to look into upgrading our net, but we're broke, so we buy ourselves a cottontail, so we'll hopefully be able to make fabric soon. They require brushing, as well as like petting and feeding and fresh air, so just piling on more things for us to do every day. The other beach has sand though, so that's a win. Let's go make some garden beds. We upgrade the bed, so we're no longer sleeping on the floor, and I finally realized that all the furniture would buff count toward the cozy score. Yeah, I should pay more attention and read things better, but in my defense, it said like relaxing cozy item. I just neglected to see the word cozy after the other two options. Turns out that hot tea cures the rain effect temporarily. Status effects in this game are very annoying and pretty constant. Didn't that Jeremiah guy say he was going to give us some bountiful fertilizer? Because it doesn't seem like he did. We wake up to find more rain. Remember when I was excited about it raining all of like 2 days ago, and then we learned about status effects, and now I kind of wish it would stop. I had to look it up, but apparently the iron ore only shows up in the mines after level 10, which was confusing because we definitely had iron ore in our inventory, but it turns out the jumbles also dropped iron ore, which is how I managed to be that confused for that long, even though I know that none of the rocks we were hitting looked like iron ore rocks, like the copper ore rocks, but iron colored. We go on a bit of a tea leaf collecting spree, because the tea only lasts 4 hours at a time, but we do then head into the mines, and I still haven't figured out the fast travel thing yet, so we fight our way down, and our backpack is annoyingly very full, but we do have some food and potions that we can eat to clear it out. It's level 12, where we get our first iron rock spawns, and then we find a new enemy. This anchor is very annoying, as I constantly get stuck under it, and am unable to jump out of the way when it's going to attack. I guess because I was trying to hit it first? I don't know. I can't explain why I get stuck under it. I mean, it's only floor 12 and we're already getting beaten up pretty badly. This doesn't bode well for us. So we go home to craft and clear the farm a bit. And it's still raining, which is nice for the crops, but literally nothing else. We make a loom and pick up our first piece of raw cotton from the cottontail. Here is a really good example of how annoying catching things in this game is. The number of times we miss, even though we only hit it when the swirly things are around the creature. We really need money. But we go into the mines. And while we stopped wasting stamina on the higher floors, we do still fight the jumbles on the way down. Really hate that moving floors changes the weapon/tool selected back to default. This causes us to get hit a few times as well, and I'm fairly certain that the magic ability costs not only mana but also stamina, which kind of sucks because I thought it didn't. We head out of the mines and run into Argyle, who, now that I have frog sweat, would like fade dust instead. It's finally not raining today, but that means we have to water our crops this morning. The turnips are ready to harvest though, and having that cottontail all up in our crops does make me kind of nervous. Unfoundedly worried that the animals are going to graze on the crops. We craft an animal lure, which sometimes works as intended. Maybe. I really just wish I could fence these bastards in. We craft a bench and get the cozy rating up to 3. Can't make anything else though. It's nearly the day when we finish up all of our daily chores, so going to the mines felt like a bit of a waste. Instead, we spend the day chatting with people, fishing, catching critters, gathering resources. We do find a new place we've never been before, as I've learned that you can mostly jump around the black mist stuff. It doesn't really hurt us at all. You just can't walk on it. And catching this totally common, not rare fish takes us 40 in-game minutes. We put the seal in by our farm, but don't have anywhere we can travel to yet. We're only fishing level 3. We need 2 more levels before we can upgrade our rod. Ouch. The animal lure is like kind of doing its thing. I don't actually know what it's supposed to do. I thought it would just keep all the animals corralled into a small space, but that's not what it does. So I don't know. We finally remember the produce stand on the farm exists and just sort of decide not to plant more crops because we're gonna need that extra time if we want to get to the bottom of the mines. We do go and buy a bounteous fertilizer, so we'll finally be able to complete that quest, and we get our iron axe for running down into the mines again. We don't bother fighting the jumbles this time though. We also use our first magic potion that doesn't restore stats. Guess the jumbles dropped the bubble potion, so we decide to try it out. We put in the seals we have and get all the iron and peridot that we can manage before heading back out of the mines. This is going very slowly. We put the bounteous fertilizer down on one of the cauliflowers and pick up our first piece of fabric from the loom. 1 piece of raw cotton a day makes this very slow process. We also discovered today that we can make better food if we have a better cooking station, so we start to work on that. This morning we tried to use the animal lure to call the animals out of the coop, just in case it works. It doesn't, but they come out on their own anyway. The first new machine we've got is a gem polisher, so we put on some gems to polish, and then I'll go back down into the mines, where we finally figured out that fast travel thing. Wow, I'm dumb sometimes. We made 3 floors of progress today. Pretty good, I guess. We stop off to tell Jeremiah about the fertilizer thing and make 500 gold, we put the polished gems up for sale. Wow, that really was the answer to our money problem all along. Who knew? We decide to buy a second cottontail purely for the fabric, and we make a food prep table and start prepping some food. So we forgot to start the recording today. We didn't really miss much. We did a quest and gave a guy some berry tea, which is fancier and will sell for more. It doesn't cure the damp for any longer though. We have enough money, so we go and purchase our upgraded net from Mel. Not totally sold that catching things seemed easier, but who knows? We pull out some iron ingots to get more tool upgrades, which we can now afford, but we forgot to put the berries away. So we go back in a second time and hit the send all similar button and put the iron back into storage. And just don't notice until we get down to cinder. But we do get a copper watering can and put the citrine seal down so we can fast travel from our farm to the mines, which should save us some time. Accidentally hit Y while using the axe. Apparently its magic ability is that we can boomerang it into a straight line in front of us. Don't really see the use for this. It's not like we've got a bunch of trees hanging out in a straight line anywhere, but okay. Argyle has sent us a letter asking us on a date. He really is the only romanceable character that we run into on a regular basis. The cauliflower harvest gives us a bunch of new available recipes, and I finally noticed the flower sprouting in between. How long has that been there? Whoops. We fast travel to the mines after our chores are done. New enemy down in the mines, a cannon. They're fun. They love jumping away from us, but are significantly easier to dodge / stun. And we then proceed to get killed by an anchor. It'd be so hard to move when fighting. I mean, it's probably my fault, but the only thing I'm doing wrong is missing an attack, which freezes us under him, and also the fact that this little switch here keeps changing our weapon back to the default tool. So, that was fun, but there doesn't appear to be any consequences from dying, so that's nice. Sunhaving really spoiled me. I really feel like all farming sims should have an invincible option. Like, have the fighting if that's what you're into and people want it, and that's cool, but have an option to opt out if you, like me, hate fighting in games. Guess we're feeling bold and we bought a bunch more seeds and finally upgrade our shovel to iron. Don't actually know what its magical ability is, or if it has one, I guess. We can also finally build a cooking hearth, which should hopefully upgrade the stamina boost we get from food quite a bit, and also have the food sell for more money. We place a new furniture item and have finally hit cozy level 5, or we will. In the morning, rather. We sell a lot of tea and finally get to finish Aspen's quest. We buy a couple health potions so we can avoid a repeat of yesterday, and then set up some more seals for crafting. We also spend a bit of time fishing, trying to up our level. We're still selling all of our critters and bugs, which we really shouldn't be doing, but it'll be a while before we learn that. We're back in the mines today and get seals down to level 19, and we go down to level 22, so very close. Our evening is spent cooking for the most part. We do some more farm cleaning, the remaining stamina we have. I'm genuinely shocked about how much junk is still on the farm. Most farming sims, cleaning up the farm is like one of my top priorities. The mayor writes to us and tells us the Petal Bloom Festival is quickly approaching and asks us to go see her, which we do. Turns out she wants us to plant a bunch of flower seeds, which is convenient because we have to go see Rosalind today anyway, tell her about the pink flower. So the animal lure doesn't work the way I thought it did. Like, I can go and touch it and call the animals to it, but I thought it would keep them confined to that space, which clearly it doesn't. Good thing they don't actually eat the crops then, I guess. We make a bunch of flower beds, and our small garden patch is no longer strangely off-center. I really should have been smarter about placing the flowers so we could get more hybrids, but we weren't really thinking about that at the time. We go into town and buy our second backpack upgrade, and go tell the mayor about the seeds. So we forget to activate the second part, and she teleports away from town rather quickly. Now we have to make some decorative items with flowers that we don't really have. We managed to craft and place the third fast travel seal around town, and then we fish some more. Good news! It's raining again today! Well, it doesn't really matter. We were going to spend our day in the mines anyway, and we reach level 25, where we find a water sprite, who is very excited and thought the whirlpools were fun. When we tell them that they're not, they agree to stop them, but we must first bring them some items to make a meal. Sounds reasonable enough. We also go on that date with Argyle. I just check online to make sure we could date more than one person. Because wildflowers discard us, it seems. But we can, which is good, because these dates are pretty much the only way we get to know anything about the romantical characters. Argyle feels very autistic, and that does make me love him more. He's very sweet, and we talk about frogs on the dock for a bit. Then we go back home and start collecting things we need for Neppy. We need to plant some turnips, because we haven't been bothering to keep any of them around, and just making them all into food. So that kind of sucks that we're gonna have to wait. We head to the beach to catch the sardines we need, and hopefully find some coral lying around. This is the first time the line has ever snapped on us, so I decide to actually pay attention to fishing. The third sardine proves pretty elusive, but we catch him off the end of the dock before the day is over. So we head back to the mines to hand in things we can, and then have to go back home because we forgot to pick up the seals we needed, but we make it back and go through placing all the seals on the way. Pretty sure we could have just fast traveled straight to level 25 because you don't even need to place a seal there, but I mean... It's done now. We drop off the fish and coral and have to go back to the farm because apparently I forgot about the sand dollars. Not a total waste of a trip though, so we did need to place the topaz seal in the spooky woods. The almanac isn't really useful. Like, I really wish the recipes you discovered would just be colored in. I went through the whole list at least twice and then decided to look up steamed fish. Not really sure if I missed it in the almanac, and I'm pretty sure we've even made it before, but whatever. We're finally nearing the end of clearing out the farm, a whole 2 days before the end of the season. Woo! We need to go around collecting greens for the steamed fish, so that's what we do. And they don't appear to be anywhere. We do end up eventually finding enough outside mills though, so we return home and do some more farm cleaning while we wait for things to cook. Also thought we should look into making those flower decorations, but all of them are undiscovered, so we run around town looking for any of those scrolls we might have missed, and we check the shops. No luck. We do go and drop off the steamed fish for Neppy though. Only thing left is those darn turnips. Then we place the customization mirror in our house, since we finally found that scroll, and thought maybe we could go in and see if I was just being dumb during hair creation and can in fact have the hair color that I want, or our brows are the right color. Why isn't our hair the same color? Still no answers on that one, and we try a few other options, hoping for something less brown, so we end up with exactly what we started with. And then when we go and try and exit, we get this message, and we panic and quit the game. No, we do not want to start at the beginning of chapter 2 with no inventory and level 1 tools. Thankfully, opening the game puts us back in our game, but we do now have play day 27 over. So we do that. At least we know where the greens are now, right? We go back to Neppy to redeliver the steamed fish. While we do place the chair for the extra stamina, we don't even make the customization mirror. Maybe the game didn't actually mean that we'd be back at the beginning of chapter 2, but given that the game autosaves, I wasn't really willing to take that chance. Thank you very much. Guess we'll just look exactly the same through the whole game. Not great for the thumbnail, but what can you do? We go to Cinder to upgrade our final tools to iron and realize that we put the ingots back. So we go back home and almost leave without them again because we're really good at this game, y'all. Today is the Petal Bloom Festival. We still haven't finished that quest for the fair, but our turnips are ready, and that means we have the dice roots we need. Kind of nice to be finishing the first big story beat at the end of the season. We move some machines around on the farm because we often end up petting animals when we mean to be using machines, or using machines when we mean to be petting animals. They really just get in the way more often than they do anything else. Dice roots in hand, we go see Nippy, who promises good things. We must come back tomorrow when they are prepared. So we decide to go check out the festival, which is pretty much confined to Town Hall, where lots of people have quests for us. Most of them are the same quest, but we go through and diligently accept them all, and Merritt is running a festival shop where we can buy decor. This is perfect. So we buy 2 of the flower deco options. There's some other fun stuff, but because you have to give items as well as money, we either don't have or haven't discovered the things that we need. I mean, how are we supposed to prepare and bring things we didn't know we needed? So we can't have the outfit or any of that. We go back to the farm and make and place the decor for the quest, but we had all of 5 yellow tulips and can only make 1. We then go and pull out a bunch of stuff from storage to fulfill all the friendship/romance quests we just got. This was definitely a waste of time and resources, but hey, now we know that, and we complete our first shipping contract entirely by accident. Every time I ran close enough to the board, it told me that there were no contracts available until today. Conveniently, we had the rough aquamarine required. When we wake up, we go and stop the whirlpools with Neppy and get a new spell infused into our staff. This letter from Holly seems to imply seasonal crops, which I guess kind of exists in the game, but instead of buying seeds for said crops, you use fertilizer on the crops you've planted, and they might change into a seasonal crop. I don't really know what the benefit of that is, given that they all chop up into the same item and the crops aren't even worth selling on their own, but it is fun getting to collect all those new seasonal critters. Though again, they are functionally just an aesthetic change. We stop in to tell Alaric that we stopped the whirlpools and tell him about our new spell. He suggests we go see Drac, as he might be able to help us out, but also gives us a quest to use the spell once, so we go and do that on the Black Mist, and then he sends us off to see Eddie. So now that the whirlpools are gone, there are some new people in town, fairies. We check out the shipping contracts, and I foolishly believe that pickled seafood will be easy. Shouldn't have been with that price tag, but you know, we talked to Eddie, and it seems we've completed chapter 3, and our next quest is available, but it's not with him, and the new quests are just side quests, but we pick them up anyway. This woman wants us to complete a shipping contract, and Drac, of course, has the quest that Alaric mentioned, which is to clear the mist over Hazy Haven, so we go and do that, but this is also where we cleared the mist for Alaric earlier, and now we're 2 mists short for the quest. Did we just fuck this up really badly? We clear some more mists close to Hazy Haven, but that doesn't appear to be acceptable for the quest. I guess this quest will just exist forever over our head. But Merritt has a new challenge for us: job quests. So we go talk to Nessa, who has a fishing quest for us. It looks like if we complete them all, we might even unlock an outfit. So we go and try and catch those fish and end up in a place where apparently we can't jiggle the lure. That's fun. We dream of someone called the Wisp Mother, and she asks us to come see her because we are the main character of the story and therefore can solve all problems. We wake up to a letter in the mail from Eddie about the property, which to be very clear has never been mentioned to us before. It is literally directly beside our farm, but it gives us more land space and of course a barn where we can keep new animals. We're not gonna do this, by the way. The chiku and the cottontails are enough for me to deal with. But we head up behind the farm, and with the use of our new spell, we discover this cove, grove, garden place where the Wisp Mother exists. She is very large, and apparently where all the magic in Azoria comes from. And then she says she's gonna give us wings, but of course she needs some materials first. So we go look into making a conservatory. This here is the new farm, by the way. We get distracted by catching fish for the job quest. Probably should have done that after we put the materials on to craft, but here we are. Instead, we go and turn in the quest to Nessa, follow the materials craft, and accept the second job quest. Thought we'd stop by Cinder and look at her job quests. Turns out you can only have one active at a time, and the quest must be active for any progress to be made. And any progress you have made will be lost if you switch to a different job quest in the middle of the currently active one. Yay! We also look into making an artisan crafting table, which we'll need to make that pickled seafood we promised the shipping board. And we nip down to the beach to get the saltwater fish for the job quest. Go turn that in. Don't accept the next one though. Thought maybe we should explore our options. There are a lot of job quests out there. Back on the farm, we make the conservatory and put in our last moon moth, and then decide to go to bed. Butterdust should be ready in the morning. We go and get our wings! And when she says that her magic isn't strong enough for us to fly, I somehow get it in my head that this will change, or we'll get new wings. Mostly because I'm bad at jumping and still can't reach things that are high up like the recipe on this pillar. We don't get stronger wings. I just suck. Anyway, the Wisp Mother sends us to find some portal to the FAE room, see if it's still magic or something, and having already tried to jump to it, we know exactly where it is. But instead of going there, we go and check out some other job quest options. No, I don't know why either, but the bug one seems pretty easy, so we accept that from Mel. While running around, we run into Frida and feel it is imperative that we go and make her some berry tea immediately. Either way, by 3 p.m. we decide we should probably check out that portal business, and it is very much not glowing, but I'm not really bothered about the quest it seems, because instead we head off and collect some resources, and discover that the Hazy Haven quest has righted itself, and we can go tell Drac about it, and then catch some bugs on the way up to the Wisp Mother. Apparently it was glowing, and there's still magic in the gate. Turns out something called miasma has been affecting the Fae realm, and while it isn't dangerous to fairies, it is dangerous to humans. So she shut off the Fae realm from Azoria for our safety. But we are the hero, and therefore can go in and fix it, I guess. But she needs more ingredients to be able to open the gate. I mean, make up your mind, woman. Does it have magic or not? Maybe she just wants some polished gems and is using this as an excuse? We set up the 2 gems we have enough of to polish, and catch the last bug we needed for Mel. Next task is frogs and critters with shells. So we go to the beach in hope of finding some crabs. No crabs, but we do find quite a few snails. We finally have the resources we need to make that artisanal table, and then we discover how difficult pickled seafood is to make. Maybe difficult is the wrong word, but you need 25 chopped shellfish for one. Yep, that explains why the board was willing to give us so much money. And we go to the mines to get the other gems we need for the Wisp Mother. It's a very quick trip, and we're back at the farm to polish more gems. We go and try to pick and water flowers, being very rudely interrupted by our cottontail and keep accidentally petting it instead. But we go to Erlene and upgrade the trough so we don't have to remember to feed them every day. Turns out the conservatory eats the things you put into it. Not much of a conservatory, is it? We drop the gems off with the Wisp Mother, and she'll open the gate tomorrow. So we decide to run down to the beach to collect more shellfish and hopefully catch the final critter that we need for our job quest. We get a bit of shellfish, but have to head off of the beach to find the frog that we need before going to see Mel. The next job quest is to catch 2 with 1 swing, which sounds scary and unlikely. So we'll pause our journey down this job quest route for the moment. We do buy an upgraded net though. We wake up and there is no cutscene. Did the quest glitch? Did I do something wrong? Confused, we go see the Wisp Mother, who tells us the gate is already open. Guess she did it without us. The quest has no checks next to the open gate task, but we go to the gate and try to run through it anyway. Nope, definitely not open. But the miasma she told us about is definitely here. Well, I guess we'll do other things today instead. We go to the mine to mine the coal for Cinder's job quest, and the next one is to produce 8 polished citrine. So we head back to the mines for a bit of a longer trip. Polishing, of course, takes time, so we decide to do a bit of critter catching and shell collecting, fishing, sort of generally running about until bedtime. Today, the Wisp Mother feels like opening the gate for us. That's nice of her. We turn in our mining job quest, and today we have a new weather effect to deal with, heat, for which we need iced tea rather than hot. I love this. It's great! Best mechanic. Totally not annoying and pointless. We drink some tea and then decide to head into the FAE realm, where we don't even need it, but whatever. We meet Zydo, who also tells us about the miasma seeping out of the floating ruins and how it's deadly to humans. He sends us off to the potion maker because she should be able to help us to make more concoctions to deal with environmental effects. And we agree to be her lab rat. Not that we have any choice, really. Oh, and because this is the game of gathering ingredients, we have to make the potion ourselves, obviously. Keep in mind that she says a longer-term solution can be found by dealing with the source at the bottom of the ruins. Instead of running home immediately, we decide to stick around and get a few of the new resources available to us here. I can't really tell you why, but having new things to collect always excites me. With those in hand, we head back to the farm and get started on all the things we'll need to brew this one potion. And we decide to take Argyle up on his offer for a second date. Not so they're really dates, so much as a chance to get to know the characters like it all. And he says we're his best friend, and he's already told his family about us, and he's just really adorable and totally willing to look past our lack of frog knowledge. Oh no. I just want to hug him. Apparently frogs are only seasonal in Azoria, which is weird. Maybe it's the magic, I guess. When we finish the quest, it says we've redeemed our 4th date with Argyle. Pretty sure that was our 2nd date. Whatever. We decide to take on a cooking job quest to harvest wild greens. So we run around the map and find a shocking lack of wild greens about. We eventually find them outside of Drax's house. Apparently that's where the dandelions like to live. Today we get a letter from Jack asking us out on a date. I guess we finally run into him enough times, and we decide to keep all our magic crafting bits up on the new farm, because the main farm is getting pretty full of crafting things. But to complete the tables, we'll need to have more flutterwort and clover feed. Yes, I did immediately regret putting all of our clover feed into the potion material table. But it's fine. It's clover feed. It's just plant fiber of the FAE realm, so it's pretty easy to come by. Having used up most of our stamina, we head back to Azoria and pick up those last few wild greens we needed, also in front of Drax's house, and spend an hour chasing after a rainbow frog. We tell the cook about our wild green harvest and take Jack up on his offer of a date. He's got a sweet tooth, and his favorite tree is the sugar maple. Maybe we shouldn't tell him that I'm the worst Canadian and hate maple syrup. He doesn't need to know that. He's also very shy and comes from a family of loggers, and we let him know that we like listening to him talk. We've got a bit of time to waste and decide to go seek out people to talk to. Given that we're strangers with almost everyone in town, we've apparently hit flirting with Kyria, though. That happened quickly. She's just very easy to run into, I guess. We start our day by heading directly to the FAE realm. For farming sim, we're doing a shockingly low amount of farming. It just feels like it takes too much time and isn't really worth the effort we have to put in. So we cut up all the flutterwood we can find and just casually go about destroying fairy rings. I do really love that the game has a fairy ring, though. When we get bored of catching critters, we head back to the farm to get the rest of the flutterwood lumber going and decide to make a bunch of salads, even though we forgot to accept the job quest. I also managed to pin the recipe for wild salads, which was confusing. We then scroll our way through the almanac looking for the miasma potion. I stand by the fact that recipes should be colored in the almanac, or at least just have the unknown ones be like question marks or something. The amount of time I spend in the almanac looking for a specific thing, being especially bad at finding things, is very frustrating. But we make the fair breath potion, we go accept and quickly complete the copper ore mining job request. Given that collecting 8 feels really more like a waste of time than anything, I really want to know what these floating bubbles above people's heads mean. It doesn't seem to affect the dialogue any, so what is it for? With a fair breath potion in hand, we head back to the FAE realm. Elrond tells us where the floating ruins are, which is helpful, and then mentions we should probably have more than one potion with us, given that they only last 6 hours. That would have been more helpful yesterday, and sends us on our way. We decide to take her advice, and instead of heading for the ruins, we catch a bunch of critters and head back to make some more potions. We finally reached level 7 critter catching and bought ourselves a final net upgrade, which is exciting, but also mostly meaningless because it never feels like bug catching gets easier. And then we head into the mines to get the topaz we need for the next mining job quest. We go back to the FAE realm this morning and head out to the ruins. I was kind of hoping that the miasma would be like it is outside the ruins, just in patches, and visually it looks this way, but it's not true. Don't go into the ruins without a bunch of fair breath potions. They never last as long as you think they will, or maybe I just have a terrible sense of time. Probably the second one. While we're exploring, we find a hidden area inside a cave, maybe? Who knows? But it's empty for the time being. We then go do another mine run for the remaining topaz we need and toss a bunch of critters into the FAE conservatory to get their blobs so we can breathe in the ruins. This morning we put on as many fair breath potions as we can and then head to the mines for some more topaz. We're able to put a few more potions on when we return and of course set up the topaz for polishing, and then we just have a bit of time to kill. And now that we have the last net, I really want the last fishing rod or nowhere near level 7 fishing. So we spend some time trying to rectify that situation. Then we turn in the mine job quest, and we go clear up a bit more of the new farm. We start the morning going to get Drax's job quest because I foolishly believe the jumbles in the ruins will count. They don't. And with a few potions in our pocket, we head straight for the ruins, which have a slightly different gimmick to the mines. No longer looking for a button, instead we're looking for 2 pink orbs. They can be found like just floating around the level sometimes, but other times they're found by mining and or killing jumbles. Another fun thing about the ruins is that you can fall off of them. I'm not good at jumping at the best of times, so this is fun. Turns out if you fall off, the orbs you collected disappear and need to be collected again, on top of which you cannot move the camera at all. It sometimes zooms out or moves on its own, but you have no control of moving it, and I end up having to make blind jumps pretty often, mostly onto platforms, but occasionally just into the abyss, because I can't tell the difference. We manage all of 4 floors before we rage quit. This is going well. We decide to catch some fake critters, mostly because it's much easier, and also we need them to make fire breath potions. We then stop by Cinder to get her job quest instead, given that the floating ruin jumbles aren't included in the 50 we need for Drax, and we need an easy win right now. Then we go to bed early, and I take a break. We go see Eddie this morning to get our second upgraded rod from him, and then do a bit of meandering. I remember to collect the animal bits, which I forget often, and they don't stack. Also, now that their mood is fully up, we don't have to pet and brush them every day. Pretty sure as long as they're fed, they'll be fine. Then we start crafting some of the seals we need for the ruins, and head off for the mines to get the 8 iron ore we need for Cinder. But the next task for that job quest is a gem we haven't found yet, so it'll have to wait. And Nemeshal's at our house? My brain really wants to read his name as Marshall. Is that bad of me? Probably. But he's also fictional and a bit of a dick, so I don't know that I care. Why is he here? Like, we haven't even talked that much. He's hands down my least favorite of the romance candidates, and he's vanished before we get home to see, even though we were literally at the farm next door. Not even really sure why it creeps me out so much, but it does. We head down to the docks to get our next fishing job quest. Seems easy enough to complete. There's even a rare fish hanging out right on the farm, so we nab that and head back to Nessa. Next task is to catch 2 FAE realm fish, so we head off there. I'm not sure if it's like the color of the water here or what, but I have a really hard time seeing the fish in the FAE realm, but we do get 2 pretty quickly. Though it is probably too late to go back and find Nessa now, so we hang out in the FAE realm and catch our first queen bee. So I think we can make honey now? Tyrion wants to take us on a date. Doesn't really sound like a date though. I mean, really, all of our other dates have in fact just been chats, so who knows? We turn in our fishing quest and go see Cinder about upgrading the pickaxe. We're still an ingot short, but I decided I wasn't ready to tackle the ruins again, so instead we go get Drax quest and head into the saltwater mines, and pretty much just go floor to floor for jumbles. We hit 50 by floor 17. That was easy. So easy, in fact, we accept job quest stage 2. We also make a honey hive, which I guess works by mashing bees into honey. Ew. But the hive does eat the bees we put in, so I'm not wrong. Today we learned there's thankfully no punishment for not completing shipping board quest. I didn't think there would be, but it's nice to know for sure. We decide to brave the floating ruins again today. We really want to upgrade the pickaxe, and the only way we're getting anything else done in this game is to keep trying. We're not actually any better at it though, and I do still kind of hate it a lot. And we very much waste a whole potion because we decide we're done early when we fall off a cliff with 2 orbs. Probably should have stuck it out, but we're trying to like the game. Instead, we go on a hunt for bees. You know, to feed the hive. I ended up accidentally pausing the recording, but the only thing you missed was us being rushed to try and place some mana furniture before passing out for the night. We head back to the ruins this morning, 2 more seals in hand, and given that we're gonna need a gem for the next levels, we've yet to encounter that gem, I'd say we're doing pretty well for ourselves. So it turns out that you lose health when you fall into the abyss, which only makes this worse. Like, it was seriously annoying before now, but now it's also going to be extremely stressful. Yay! Oh, and we make 0 progress again today, because we decide to exit before we die by falling off the ledge, which is objectively worse than dying because we suck at fighting shit. Good news, however, is that we finished fighting quest job 2, and then decide to take Pyrrha up on her not date offer, and she wants us to help with her research on natural disasters. I'm not totally sold that I would call what's happening on the island natural, but I mean, semantics, I guess. And we apparently tell her we thought it was a date. I thought the letter was pretty clear that she just wanted to talk to us. But then she asked us if we wanted it to be a date. Like, maybe she wanted it to be a date? No idea. I'm more confused now. Like, obviously, mechanically it was a date, but in character, we are confused as fuck. It's just more fun that way. We check the shipping board requests and get really excited about the beeswax one, given that we now have a hive and everything, and then accept it without looking into what it takes to make beeswax. Then we go back to the cook to accept the salad quest, actually accept it this time, and leave the salads to prep overnight. We start by heading off to the ruins, only to remember we were supposed to upgrade our pickaxe, so we turn back and reach Cinder, and then realize we forgot to bring the ingots with us. Wow, we're so good at this game. Since we're already on the docks, thought we would turn the salad quest in, given that the quest says to prepare 5 salads. Turns out they must also be collected before it counts. Don't use the word prepare then. Today's really not our day. So we go home, get the ingots and the salads, upgrade our pickaxe, turn in the job quest, and head off to the ruins, where we finally get level 5. And it seems we had to check the pedestal to get the recipe for the next seal out. Good news is there is amethyst, the gem we'll need on this level. We hit level 6 and then decide that's enough progress for one day. Is this bee cursed? Why is it impossible to catch? Like, the swirly thing that says you can catch things won't appear, even when I'm, like, really close. And it probably should. And then we just kind of give up on the bee. We put the next level seals on to craft this morning. Then we go see Mel, because we had some luck catching 2 fireflies at once yesterday, inconveniently, while the recording was paused. But the catch 2 things at once thing no longer seems like an impossibility. We then head back to the ruins. And definitely did not forget to pick up the seal before we left. Nope. And we find a new jumble type. Those statue busts that I'm hanging around. Now, some of them are alive and want us dead. Yay. They use the same mechanic as the anchors in the mines, and are therefore the monsters we lose the most health to. We decide to turn back before we die, but we made it down a whole nother floor. We then catch 2 fireflies at the same time, and complete that quest. We then spend the rest of the night catching more FAE FARM critters, prioritizing bees and the bloblins that'll give us the stuff we need for the fair breath potions. Make it home in time to feed some bees to the hive, and put an amethyst seal on just before midnight. We wake up to another not date letter. Seems this time Galan would like to meet with us. We drop off our job quest with Mel and pick up the next one, then head down to the shipping board, where we realize that beeswax and the stuff you collect from the hive are entirely different. Should have been obvious in hindsight, but we instead head back to the floating ruins, where we can drop off the amethyst seal and secure ourselves another fast travel point. When we get into the ruins, we get fucked over by our staff and these monster books who are hanging out way too close to the orbs, which means that our staff keeps changing to a pickaxe instead, which is the worst mechanic in this game, by the way. And we end up dying the next floor down, because sentient statues and other enemies are also hanging out too close to orbs. And of course the fact that when you need it most, the jump button doesn't do shit. So we spend some time catching critters before bed. We look into crafting some health furniture, but for one of them we need wool, which means more animals to deal with, and the other needs rose quartz, and we've only just hit amethyst. Shit out of luck there, I'm afraid. Of course it takes 20 honeycombs to make 1 beeswax. So that shipping board quest is off the table, and I'm pretty sure it's not even worth it. Like, they're paying 3k for 10, which is 200 Ps, so fuck that. But there was a shipping board quest asking for polished topaz. That's easy to get. We decide to pick up Drax's octowheel quest, given that we'll be in those mines anyway. On our way out of the mines, we run into Galan and decide to go on her hot date, and she wants to talk jumbles. Turns out she ran an anti-jumbo brigade back where she's from and wants to help out here as well, which I think is really sweet of her. Rosie, however, tells Galan that we don't need her because we fight jumbles in the mines and they're confined to the mines. I don't think we said it very nicely either, and Galan leaves, rather defeated. For the record, Galan, I would love your help with the jumbles in the mines. And I also hate that I don't know exactly what Rosie said to her. I kind of feel like we should have text rather than being the silent protagonist, given that we're clearly saying things and are just stuck inferring what we said based on the reactions of others. And it turns out once you've accepted a shipping contract, there's no way to back out or change your mind in any way. At least we'll be able to sell the polished topaz for cash, but we'll need to be more careful about accepting things in the future. We go back to the mines today to finish up the octowheel quest. Probably wasn't worth it, given that we killed all of 1 yesterday, but I didn't know that, and we're gonna have to do it eventually, so why not do it now? The jumbos in this mine seem kind of like a joke now, compared to the ruins. We're even getting better at remembering to not try and attack the anchors and instead jump out of the way first. And we took out 19 today, which isn't a terrible showing. We do leave a bit early to get home in time to put some crafting on and sell some of the polished gems we made. We even made 6k today. We're back on the octowheel grind today, though I mean, with all the gems we can get, it's definitely worth it. And totally not just an excuse to avoid the ruins. We hit 30 pretty quickly and dash out to find Drax. This next quest is 50 ruins jumbles, so we decide against that one for now. Marshall's on the farm again, and this time he's still there when we arrive. Still not really sure why he's here, but whatever, I guess. Then we stop by to try Mel's rare critter quest again, and then run around looking for rare critters. We also upgrade the axe. Summer's drawing to a close, and Eddie asked us to come see him about the hook and line festival. Turns out that step 1 is to catch 12 saltwater or freshwater fish. Pretty easy, and we are of course still trying for that rod upgrade, and we're still only fishing level 5, so we decided to do a bit of fishing today. We also stop by and upgrade our sickle and shovel to Fayrite. We catch all 12 fish before bed, but it's too late to turn it in now, so that'll be tomorrow. tomorrow's problem. We are indeed back to selling a fuck ton of food because we really like that new backpack upgrade, and all the other upgrades are also getting more expensive. Theme step 2 in the hook and line festival quest is to give Eddie 5 steamed fish. Should be pretty easy, given how we currently have 5 steamed fish in our inventory. So we do that and get an apple for our troubles, just an apple. We then take ourselves to the FAE realm. We need more resources for fair breath potions. We stop by the beach to fish for a bit and then get pulled into the water. That's new. Probably the fish just swam too far away, but also it was in a rock, so how was I supposed to know when to reel it in? And it happened really quickly, given how far we had to let it swim out before it even turned around once. The first rare creature we've seen in days runs away because it spots us the first time we swing, which isn't very nice of it. Pepper's inviting us on a date this morning. She loses points in my book because we have the exact same hair color and style, which is probably unfair, but it weirds me out how similar we look. And she's always talking about food and eating, which is something I've just always struggled to relate to. We do quite a bit of running around this morning, still hoping for rare critters and stopping to fish every now and then. I promise we'll stop avoiding the ruins soon. We decide to go critter hunting / fishing in the FAE realm, because one FAE fish equals one rare normal fish in terms of experience. We now have like 10 fair breath potions and a few more seals to drop off, so we decide to brave the ruins again. I do wish it gave like a small warning when potion effects were about to wear off, mostly because I panic and often hit the wrong button while the miasma is about to kill us. Not that we have very much health, but still. We then jump into the abyss and quit before dying. We're out of energy anyway. Found a new kind of fish in the FAE realm, an eel. That was pretty exciting. And we catch our rose buddy, at which point we're really confused, because I haven't clocked that rare critter and rare FAE critter are not the same thing. They are not using critter as an overarching category, but as a classification for the normal Azaria critters. It might have has the fish you've always specified, like freshwater and saltwater, whatever, and then we catch a fish standing in the miasma and nearly die. We also waste a miasma potion in our panic because the bar doesn't look like it's decreasing when we exit the green mist. In editing now I can see that it was going down, but we were panicking, and when we're just about to say fuck it and trade the rare critter quest in for the rare FAE fish quest, we catch a queen bee, our first rare critter that counts towards the quest that we've seen in days. Honestly, when you're not looking for them, the bloody moon moths are everywhere. Now that we need one, however, they're nowhere to be seen. But we've got 1 out of 3 now, so we'll have to stick it out. We finally decided to bite the bullet and just buy health potions. We also find something called a galan potion that'll make us temporarily invisible, so we get one of those to try out as well. The notes for today include another rant about how much I hate ruins, but I'll spare you that one, I think. Should note, however, that it looks like I finally realized that if you drop the orb off the door before you jump into the abyss, it doesn't need to be recollected. So that's become the main strategy. Get the orb, open the door, then go back and mine things. We also managed to make 3 levels of progress today and reach the new gem we need for the seals. Today is festival day. Festivals in this game are kind of underwhelming. We still go around and chat with everyone, because with them all clumped together like this, it's a really good way to raise your relationship with a bunch of people. We do know better than to accept the romance or friendship quests, though. And we decide we might as well take Pepper on that date now. Apparently, the people in her life back home used to call her a bit of a wet blanket, but I spend the majority of my time complaining about things, so we tell her it's fine, and that accurately calling the island chaotic won't bring down the mood of the conversation. We totally forget to look in the shop. I mean, probably couldn't get anything anyway, but still kinda sucks. We then go hunting rare critters. We stop to talk to some people and gather resources along the way, and even catch a couple fish. And we hit 2 out of 3 rare critters, just in the nick of time. It's the first day of autumn, which means new critters and fish, and we even buy seeds. We're gonna do more farming in this farming sim? Color me surprised. We did decide against the crop swap fertilizer for the time being, as it's not like a seasonal veg to make any new or different recipes or anything. They're literally just roses by another name. We also make some hydrosol beds for our beans, which don't need to be replanted when harvested, as they can give crops an extra day of water. That's what the description says. Can, which I imagine means might, if they feel like it. Can you be nice to crop beds? We then go and fish the last couple of fish we need to hit level 7 fishing, and finally buy the rod upgrade. And we decide to buy a peach tree, neglecting to read the bears fruit in spring thing, and just assume, just like the flower from the cross in the game, isn't seasonal. And we finally get the last rare critter we needed, so we take ourselves straight to Mill and turn that quest in, and we go get the polished amethyst quest from Cinder. Like, I understand why we can't have multiple job quests open at once, but I'd really like to have multiple job quests open at once, especially since they're holding the majority of the clothing in the game hostage behind them. I just want a new outfit, please. We also worked our way through all the cash we built up, so we start selling bugs en masse again. Still haven't figured out how helpful those ingredients are for potions yet, I guess, especially since it's totally not worth it, and we'll have like 8 polished amethysts to to sell tomorrow, and we put more critters up for sale this morning. But we did do the smart thing and decided against selling the food we made. We dropped off the mining quest and pick up the next one, 8 FAE right ore. Seems kind of like this one should have come before the last one, but I guess we can't complain. We also go and spend all the money we have on health potions and a couple more gone potions. Not that we tried the one we bought, and that apparently we already had at least one in storage, and the send all the like button screwed us over. I really should pay more attention to these things, especially given that this happens again this morning. We also forget to bring the seals with us for the second time, first time being the last time we lost the gone potions to storage. We'll try again tomorrow, I guess. And it seems the miasma still goes up when you open the fast travel map. I hate that. You know, since they put a bunch of it on the fast travel seal and all, we get home and realize we forgot to water the plants, so we get on that and pull the gone potions out of storage for tomorrow. We then realize we have zero idea how to plant this tree. The rest of the day is just sort of meandering about, and we do get a fair few chats in, so that's a positive. It's raining today, so that saves us the bother of having to deal with the crops, so we head straight to the ruins this morning. And because of the screw up yesterday, we managed to craft 2 rose quartz seals, and we're heading in with 3 instead of 1. We get pretty lucky with enemies for the first couple of floors, but it is important to note that even though the inventory technically pauses time, enemies are not paused and will continue to attack. And we died. At least it happened before we wasted the gone potion though. We turn in the mining job quest, but the next level up is again a gem we haven't encountered yet. We're also apparently feeling pretty rich with our 3k and decided to try us out crop swap fertilizer, mostly just because we were curious. Oh, and we decided to bite the bullet and buy ourselves a woolly horn for wool, because this game offers you 0 workarounds or options to be lazy and just buy what you need. Instead, we then investigate the medium fair breath potion and put on the small amount of spore weed we have. Apparently Marshall is cordially inviting us to join him at the tavern, and apparently the woolly horns take different food. Probably should have looked into that before buying one, and we just got lucky yesterday and happened to have fodder on us, which is scary because we only had one, so we're gonna have to figure out where the hell we can get this stuff. It seems you don't need fodder to make a fodder grass patch, so that's handy, and apparently we can harvest from it. This is great. We decide to spend today prepping for the ruins. We make some medium fair breath potions and a few more seals. The crops need watering, and we head down to check out the seed lady's job quest. 30 veg in one day. Yeah, we'll just deal with that later. Instead, we pick up some more turnip seeds and crop swap. We decide to rearrange the farm a bit, as it's pretty much a mess, and we can't really go to the ruins today anyway, so might as well put some effort into the farm layout. We don't do a great job, but it does open up some space to try our hand at a little flower breeding. And desperate to gain a bit more health, we go and buy a second woolly horn. Absolute madness. And of course, we finally realized the usefulness of critters in the game, now that we're brewing potions at the wazoo and deeply regretting our choices to sell all the frogs. We start the day by watering our crops, and then we gotta go pet and shear the woolly horns, at which point it seems like a good idea to get another job quest. We consider the Drac one, but 50 is kind of a lot, so we decide on Nessa and her rare fae fish, but then remember the cook, so we nab that one real quick and rush back home to get it done. Conveniently for us, the one dish we can make with shellfish will also up our mining proficiency for 5 hours. While we wait for them to be ready, we cry over the amount of wool we need for one wool fabric, then put some more cotton on. Shellfish food in hand, we go turn that quest in before going to see Nessa for the fish quest. We started out slow this morning, but hey, gotten all this done and it's only noon. We run into Jack on our way to the Fae realm and decide might as well go on the date now. Seems he says out and about weird. There's no voice acting in this game, so it's a weird choice, but okay. Do you think they're trying to imply that he says like oot and a boot, the way people seem to think Canadians do? His favorite tree is the sugar maple. Is hippofare just... hippofare? Hiver. I don't know, that's how you'd say it in French.
Hiver vert.
But then it's just kind of like ver and... I'm gonna go with hiververt. No, I'm not. I'll go with hivervare. Is hivervare just this game's fantasy version of Canada? Sorry, I'll shut up now. Turns out people in Azoria are assholes and laugh at Jack for having an accent. Seems like he's sad when he says it, but then he immediately says it's okay because he's used to being teased by his 8 brothers. That's a lot of brothers. He saved up his money to move out of Azoria and then found out that the mayor was giving away houses for 1 florin, which made him embarrassed. When we say that we knew that, bottled message and all that, he jokingly asked to live at ours? But shouldn't he have his own 1 florin house? And then all that money he saved up to furnish it nicely? Did he get scammed and pay for the house before he got here and then couldn't afford the furniture or something? I have questions. After the date, we hit up the Fae realm for some more fishing. We find another one of those eels and go tell Nessa, but when we try to track her on the map, the game crashes. Not only did we lose the rare fae fish, but we also didn't spawn in correctly. I even tried restarting the game, which hasn't fixed the problem, and now we're forced to wait out the rest of the day and hope to God it's not broken forever. I did get bored and try to fish from inside the rock. Apparently, we're just far enough away from shore that we can't catch the fish's attention. Thankfully, we have been forgiven of our sins and no longer live in a rock. We decide to repent by spending the day in the floating ruins. We even finally try out the Gone potion today, this time before being surrounded by a horde of enemies. And I love it! Like, it does only last 2 hours a pop, which is seriously annoying, but it's almost like a built-in invincible mode, except you still lose health if you fall into the abyss. No potion can save us from bad platforming feels, but not having to fight the jumps constantly saves us so much time, and we hit floor 20 before midnight. That's 7 more levels than we had, and only 5 away from our goal. We can do it! But we did use all of our Gone potions yesterday, so we spend the day away from the ruins gearing up. We craft potions and seals, feed some critters to the conservatories, go and upgrade the trough for the woolly horns so we don't have to worry so much about forgetting to feed them. Oh, and it turns out you can find the fodder growing here around Jeremiah's farm, so we go steal all of that. Hopefully it wasn't the animals' only food source, and they have some on hand. I mean, they must do, right? We then head back into the FAE realm with hopes of recouping our lost rare fish, which we managed pretty easily. It's not an eel, mind you, but the quest doesn't care about that. We then agree to the date with Marshall. Maybe he'll tell us why he keeps creeping around our house? I mean, probably not, but who knows? He seems impressed with the fresh berry tea. We apparently think all tea is tea, which is a lie. Most tea is gross. Pretty much only exclusively drink herbal tea. Green is fine sometimes, I guess. But builder's tea is not the same as like peppermint or whatever. And Marshall is impressed with our accomplishments. He wants to court us. Yeah, I'd much rather have someone be impressed with me rather than the things I've done. And he then goes on to interrogate us about a whole bunch of academic things we've never heard of because we're new here and way too busy trying to save the world to be bothered with that shit. And then he has the gall to tell us that we don't have manners. So we decide that's enough of this and leave. See, he's a dick. It's totally okay to refuse to call him by his real name. We then run around trying to find Nessa, objectively very nervous about using the map tracker since that went so well last time, but she's in front of her house, so we turn our quest in and don't have access to mountain fish yet, so we'll pursue another avenue for now, namely cooking quests. We're waiting rather impatiently for our potions to be done this morning, and then discover we can make a jar of bees. What does one do with a jar of bees? We turn in the cooking quest and take ourselves off to the floating ruins. We've gotten a pretty late start, so we speedrun our way down to floor 25. 20 minutes till midnight, we meet the next sprite, Bolitop, who looks like a jellyfish kind of thing, maybe? No, I think they might be like a floating mushroom in a coat. I guess it's not really that important. They think the miasma is pretty and decorative, so we tell them it's dangerous, and they decide that they'll make it go away if we bring them bits to make a meal. It shouldn't be too hard, actually. We have most of what we need. We set to work making the mushroom meals for the cook and put on some wool fabric while we wait for more seals to craft, because I cannot seem to remember that the bottom floor doesn't need a seal and we can just warp straight there after we've opened it. Shroomy omelet's complete. We head back to the chef guy and go put on some things to make his next round of requests. But the seals are done and we pull all the things we have out that we need for the quest, and here's where we regret making the seals, because we had exactly enough emeralds for the mushroom guy, and we don't even need the seals. Really wish my brain would remember that fact. Oh well, now I need more emeralds. Pretty late in the day too, so we go turn in our next cooking quest. Jack's in the pub and has a date question mark above his head, so we take him out, and I'm pretty sure we've done this date already. I guess that was on death day. Anyway, all is righted with the world, and the date is done for the second time. We then rush off to the FAE realm to get forageables we need for the cook, and some more clover feed and jellycaps for our floating mushroom friend. Today we have to buy Gone potions, because we don't have the things we need to craft them. I'm very thankful that the game at least lets us buy the lowest level of potions, so we're not stuck without them. Pretty sure this is the only thing that we can buy outright. We do go and turn in our cooking quest, but the next one up requires FAE veggies, and I have no idea what they are or how we get them, so I guess we've hit another job quest wall for now. And when we get to the floating ruins, we at least notice that we can warp down to 25 and don't have to go and place all the seals on our way. We drop off everything minus the polished emeralds. Yes, we are kicking ourselves for making that mistake, but it can't be undone. So we head into the ruins proper and get to mining emeralds. We don't have a terrible amount of luck and end up leaving with 26, but what can you do? So this tip claims that hydroveds keep crops watered an extra day. Not that they can, or they might, but that they do. Good to know. I wish it was worded better in the almanac, but knowing now is better than never knowing at all. We take ourselves back to the ruins for more emeralds. We get enough and head back home and wait rather impatiently for them to polish for us. Another foolish mistake we made is I didn't pick up the polished emeralds mining quest. so the 5 we've polished won't count towards our 8, which kind of sucks. But I was just so ready to be done with the miasma, we weren't really thinking all of our decisions through. But at least we can feed Bolitol, so we go drop the polished gems off. Still feel kind of weird that all these sprites seem to eat gems, but that's the price to pay, I guess. Bolitol says they'll cook up a feast, and we should come back tomorrow to remove the miasma. We then spend some time trying to reach this recipe scroll, and continue to fail miserably. We get a new power in our staff called FAE Fire and use it to send the miasma away, which brings back a bunch of elves to the Fae realm, and Bolitol tells us we should go and see someone called the Marquis. He says thanks, I guess, and we go check out the empty cave we found earlier. Now it's got people in it. It contains a person who sells Fae animals and one who will breed them. Oh no, more animals. I guess we're finally getting a Fae farm. Only took 68 days into the game to reach full title fulfillment. Valerandy has a shop now, and she sells level 2 potions, but I don't retain this information, and we will never use it to our advantage. She also offers some potion making job quests. I looked into getting paper in the game, because so many things need it, and we hadn't come across it yet. Turns out we need another table. This one is called the decorating table. Remember back at the beginning of the game when I was so excited that we didn't have to craft a table to be able to start crafting things? That excitement has diminished, mostly because reality of that statement has also diminished, and we have more tables and furnaces and stations than we know what to do with. Honestly, I think I would have preferred having one table that crafts all the things instead of this mess. And then we forget to hit the unpause button. Nothing important happened. We just picked up a few side quests and things. We then find our way back to this cliff. Pretty sure we talked to Drac about the new spell we got, and he's the reason we know we need to use the Fae Fire spell to light these torch things, which we do, and a bridge appears, which leads us to our FAE farm. We then go and see Cleo and accept her first job quest. They're essentially just miniature scavenger hunts, where she gives us clues and we go find a thing. First one we're looking for is a swimming hole, and then I managed to misread or misunderstand the clue and think that when she mentions salt water and fresh water, she means that she doesn't want any salt water in her swimming hole. So we go around to all the ones we know about. My first thought was the one above our farm, but that doesn't seem to be it. Oh, also we made a seed maker while we were paused, which is convenient because we can now take the Fae veg we have and make it into seeds. Because you guessed it, like literally all of the crops in the game, you get Fae crops by using crop swap fertilizer on seeds planted on the Fae farm or in Fae soil. Yay! I totally don't hate this at all. And just before bed, we stumble into this place we've literally never been before. How did we miss a whole section of the map this big? Whoops. We get a letter from Frida asking us to come and see her in the cavern. Wonder what that's about. Given the name of the chapter, we decide to look into making warmth potions, but the cauldron doesn't give us the option. The almanac says we have the recipe, and we have all of the ingredients. Why can't we make a warmth potion? On the way there, we get ourselves a silver pickaxe. Frida needs us to get her some frost thistle so she can sell frosty iced tea. Not really sure how big of a seller that'll be in the fall, but she can do what she likes. She tells us the frost thistle is hiding up on the mountain where the blizzard is happening. On our way up the mountain, we run into Zito, the guy who used to stand at the entrance to the Fae realm. He tries to tell us we shouldn't bother trying to help Frida, since we'll never be able to handle the storm long enough to harvest any frost thistle. We pretty much say we're going with or without him, and he agrees to help us find a solution to the problem. Pretty sure the answer is the warmth potion I can't seem to make, but we'll let him help us. It makes him feel better. Zito tells us about an ice seller named Ulrich who should know what we need. He claims to have the recipe, but needs some time to find it, and asks us to bring him some milk tea while he looks. He definitely neglected getting one of the animals that makes milk. Mildly panicked, we head down to the chef guy's shop. No luck. So then we go see a guy who sells the things at the tavern, because he has a bunch of tea offerings and stuff. None of them are milk tea. I really don't want more animals to deal with. We decided to look up milk tea in the almanac. As expected, it calls for milk that we don't have. I had to Google, in desperate hope that we can acquire milk somewhere other than a cow. The answer to that is no. However, it seems that one of our job quests gave us milk tea as a reward. Grateful, we nip off home to pick that up and head back to Ulrich. He gives us the recipe and mentions that maybe there's a sprite behind this blizzard nonsense. We agree to check it out and head off home to make the warm potions since we tried to make this morning. Proof that we already had the recipe for the warmth potion. The one we get from Ulrich was the medium one, as we already had the regular one, and the game refused to let us prepare it ahead of time. We do stop by the beaches on our way home, hoping to find some crabs for the extra shell bits. On our run there, we spot a compass on some rocks. Guess the clue was supposed to lead us to a swimming hole that featured both salt and fresh water, and we just misunderstood. Oops. Excited to turn the quest in, we open the map to track Leo, and she isn't anywhere on the map. I genuinely opened and scrolled through all of the options more than once. I genuinely opened and scrolled through all of the options more than once. She's just not there. What the fuck? With Leo missing, we head home, feed the crabs and snails we got to the conservatory, and then head off to craft some warmth potions. When we opened the map to look for her this time, he was on the beach. Bitch, where were you when we were on the beach? But we head back down to get our next scavenger hunt clue. This one is pretty straightforward. So we head into the mines and down to see Neppy. The compass is hiding atop a column that we can't reach. Believe me, I try. Sure that that's not just my lack of skill and that soon acquire better wings, we turn around and accept defeat, but are also really ready for new wings now. Scavenger hunts are fun. It seems that Curia would like to take us out on a real date now, and Jack has also invited us out again. Warmth potions in hand, we head straight to the blizzard, where there are a bunch of fun new critters to catch, and we meet Growl. Hands down the cutest sprite, but they're sad and want to be left alone, which is why they created the blizzard. We tell them the blizzard is hurting people, and they agreed to stop if we bring them, you guessed it, some ingredients to make a meal. Honestly, at this point, I just really wish the sprites would ask for something else. Not even necessarily for the fetch mechanic to be changed. Just, I don't know, ask for stuff to make a toy or a hat or something relevant to the spell that we're gonna do to change the thing. I don't know, anything but food. Either way, we need frost beets, which means turnips and crop swap fertilizer. Thankfully, we can just use regular soy beds to make FAE crops if we grow them on the FAE farm. Very glad we've skirted the need for more animals once again. We make our 9x9 grid and plant our turnips and have a miserable time trying to water and fertilize them because of the way the one tool mechanic in this game works, but we get it done. And then we head into the ruins to mine some sapphire. We got rid of the miasma. Everything should be dandy, but no, the miasma is still in the ruins. We still need potions to do anything in here. I said how much I love this mechanic yet? No, it totally doesn't make me want to pull all of my hair out. Yeah, we go back home, pull out the fair breath potions we have, and put a few more on. So thought that we could be done with this. We then go get the combat job quest to defeat 50 ruins jumples, and then head back to the farm via the ruins, as we forgot to put the seal in when we were there earlier. It's too late to bother with the ruin run at this hour, so we waste the rest of our stamina clearing out the FAE farm. When we head to the FAE farm, we can't water our crops. That's weird. It turns out it's because it's raining at the original farm, so while it's not raining here, the soil still is wet. I don't know. It's a thing I didn't even realize until post-gameplay, and only 5 out of 9 became frost beets. Hopefully more fertilizer will change that. I hope we don't have to grow out the turnips now. That'd suck. But we've got the miasma potion, so we head down into the ruins in search of sapphires for Growl and rose quartz. I don't actually remember what that's for, if I'm honest. We weren't really well prepared for this trip, having forgotten to bring food with us, which means we eat all of our beans and a bunch of tea. We head up to drop off the bits we have for Growl. Turns out if you're standing in the right place, you can ride on these burrowing critters. That's really fun. We've got a warmth potion to spare, so we decide to do a little bit more exploring up here in the mountains, and we run into a pile of lava things. No idea how to deal with those. Guess we'll be back later. We stop off at the farm to dump some things. Still can't water the frost beets, but it looks like a few more of them are frost beets now. No idea. We've got a ton of zippy fertilizer from somewhere, so we dump a bunch of that on the frost beets, and they're ready to harvest. So we go straight back to Growl, and as expected, they ask us to return tomorrow. We stop by the Wisp Mother. She sells wings in her shop. Maybe those ones let us jump higher. I mean, they won't, but we don't know that yet. All the wings require items we haven't discovered yet, so it'll be a minute until we figure this out. We take Puria out on the date that she asked us for. We apparently failed to comprehend that she likes being gloomy sometimes. We decide to try it out, but are apparently too cheerful. Can't relate, but okay. We turn one of the extra frost beets into seeds to avoid the fertilizer hassle next time. We also can't seem to remember that we want to make silver ingots while we're on the farm for the life of us. The minute we leave, we remember, but on the farm just slips our minds. We do finally remember and put them on to smelt though. Rel tells us they were sad because they thought they were a beast, but they also teach us a charm spell, which works on snowflakes, I guess. We find a letter of apology in the mail from Galan. Honestly, what do they have to apologize for? We're the ones being rude, but whatever. We take our ingots straight to Cinder and get ourselves a silver axe. We had a letter on the 15th about new shipping contracts, but it seems the board still wants our beans. Guess we shouldn't have used them all up, though. I mean, in my defense, I thought we'd missed the deadline. Our sickle isn't strong enough to cut what I'm assuming is frost thistle. Wish we'd known that before we upgraded the axe instead. We tried to jump over the lava mats for Pile and didn't go so well. It seems that eventually all of our turnips changed into frost beets. We buy a few of the new flowers we have access to. Really dreading the flower breeding we're going to have to partake in. We find Galan outside the ruins and take them out. Still not really sure why they're apologizing to us, but they tell us about leaving their home because the jumbles were no longer a threat, and as a warrior, they wanted to be useful fighting jumbles somewhere else. We seem very insistent on them finding a different path in life, not really sure why. I'd love them to help me fight jumbles, and fighting jumbles is their life's purpose. I object strongly to this this storyline. But after that, we take ourselves back to the ruins and get the silver we need for a new sickle. We get pretty lucky and manage to get that and smelt the bars before Cinder leaves for the night. We upgrade the sickle and we talk to Aspen about possibly upgrading the house. It's pretty small in there with all that furniture. We return the things he needs and he says it will be ready tomorrow morning. Probably shouldn't ask how he's gonna upgrade our house with us sleeping inside it. Sometimes it's just better not to know. Seems the fish jerky sells for a pretty reasonable amount, so we go ahead and turn all our fishes into fillets. True to his word, the house is indeed bigger this morning. Are we gonna be extremely lazy and leave everything in the middle of the room? Yes. Yes, we are. We go back up the mountain. Still looks really snowy, but warmth potions are no longer required. We cut down some frost thistle and clear out the black mist that decided to roll in overnight. We bring it down to Frida, who tells us we look like a mess. Not really sure that was called for, but she does give us 8k in exchange for like 3 frost thistle. So we'll forgive her. And then we don't remember to unpause our recording. Nothing really important happened, at least according to my notes. And we're back in the ruins now, trying to defeat 50 jumbles for Drax's job quest. We do require a significant number of health potions, but we get the job done. Ulrich sends us a pretty dramatic letter in the mail, so we decide it's probably a good idea to head up and see him. He tells us all his ice is melted. Guess that's because we stopped the blizzard. How long has the blizzard been going on that he managed to create a whole business out of it? And should we tell him about all the ice behind him that hasn't melted? Instead, we suggest he start fishing for a living. We're apparently big into telling people to change their careers to conform to our needs. I mean, the man asks us to show him how to sell fish, not catch fish, but sell them. Not really sure how well this is going to go for him. Remember that Nessa's next job quest was catching mountain fish, and head down to pick that up before we start fishing for Ulrich. We catch the 3 mountain fish we need pretty quickly and toss them up for sale. Seems that the Ulrich quest won't complete until morning after they're sold, though. We tell Nessa about the fish and then head off to get some of Aspen's job quest done. We found them when we were trying to upgrade the house, and the first one at least seems painfully easy. So we put on 8 beach lumber. So impressed with the fish jerky sale, we thought we'd try out some other artisan foods. None of them even break 200, not even the other type of jerky. But we do finally have what we need to buy our first dye pack. Not particularly exciting, given that it's pale yellow, and it looks more like a muddy browny green to me, but it's a step forward, and that counts for something, right? We then make a few more 3x1 beds and plant some flowers for breeding. This is literally the only way to access the dyes that aren't mostly brown and very pale. So we should just give in and start breeding flowers. As much as I hate it, we then forget about the lumberjob quest until it's too late and Aspen has left for the night. We go and tell Ulrich that we sold some fish. At least he seems excited about the change in product, and to get the word out about his new endeavor, he asks us to speak to the Marquis. But we do remember to stop by Aspen and drop off the job quest first. The Marquis says he'll send a letter of support to Ulrich. Not really sure that was what he wanted, but whatever. Seems us stopping the blizzard has allowed the heat from the volcano to get hot enough to fuck with everything, so the Marquis sends us off to meet an elf who lives close to the volcano who should be evacuated. We agree to let her know, and he tells us that we can use that charm spell to charm the lava monster pile. Seems to work out. Her name is Igni, and she says she can't leave her home. I mean, if it's a house or burning to death, I know which one I'd pick, but this is a fantasy game and she isn't actually in any danger, given that we're here to save the day. She does give us a recipe for a fireproof potion though, because this game bloody loves a good potion cell status effect. Also looks like Igni sells dyes. They also require a bunch of undiscovered bread flowers, but we leave to look into making some fireproof potions, which of course require us to feed some of the new icy mountain critters to a new conservatory, so we start having the materials we'll need to make it. Our shovel desperately needs an upgrade. Jack finally has the new spell side quest for us, and we'll need to charm more of those lava monster piles, I guess. We head back up to the mountain, but I don't see any more lava piles around the volcano. We run out of stamina on the mountain, so we go home and wait for the conservatory to eat some critters to complete Valorandi's first job quest. And we hop over to let her know it's done. I think we managed to pick up a bit more stamina on our travels, so we head back into the mountain, mostly to try and get the critter drops from the critters so we can finish the quest faster. But we also pick up more peat moss and ancient wood. It's back to the mountain for us this morning, and then we decide to use the second farm as more space for flower breeding. While we're running about, we land somewhere we've never landed before and find a recipe for gardening clothes. I got real excited, but they're just decor. I do not need decorative clothes. I desperately need real clothes. We lose a large chunk of our fodder patch while trying to shear the woolly horn. I did do a bit of research on flower breeding in the game, even it's not like exactly straightforward, because you only get seeds for each flower in one color, but I came across a strategy with the beans. No idea why I never tried to use the watering can's magical ability before now, but the bean allows us to water the whole square of plots at once, which is nice. We're then back on the mountain for the rest of the night. We stop by Mel's to get the next critter job quest, and then head up into the mountains again to get more peat moss. We cut down all the ancient lumber trees though, so they're gonna have to regrow. Instead, we head back into the ruins after silver and sapphires. and then we head out to catch those fake critters we need. With that done, we go back to Mel and take on the next one. We put on the sapphire seal and, of course, some silver bars. And lucky for us, we managed to get our hands on enough ingredients for 1 medium fireproof potion. And just before bed, we run up to put the sapphire seal in place and managed to find some ancient wood trees we hadn't cut down yet. So it's been a pretty productive day. We wake up to a letter from Holly, who I guess runs the Seed and Soil Festival. It's that time of the month again, and she asks us to come see her. She needs us to harvest 12 crops, and if we do, we'll get 12 pumpkin seeds, which is kind of a big deal, given that the only other way to get pumpkin seeds is to crop swap. Harvest the swapped crop, and then feed it to the seed maker. Turnips grow the fastest, so we pick up 12 of those. We already had 9 beans growing, so we probably didn't need that many, and also some of the crop swapping fertilizer. And we finally pick up the final backpack upgrade. Back on the farm, we can make the mountain critter conservatory and start feeding critters to it. Trying to plant seeds and you have fertilizer in your pocket is a nightmare, by the way. We get Cinder to upgrade our shovel, and then head on up to see Igni about the potion crafting rewards. Our next task, of course, is to make it to the bottom of the mine. Cave? Mine. I think I'll go with mine. And then we're off on catching fake critters part 2, which is, again, a pretty quick task. On our way out, we run into Jack, who we can apparently take on another date. So we go ahead and do that. Jack lets us know that he likes hanging out with us more than trees, which is sweet. And we head back to Mel. Next step up on our job quest is the dreaded rare critter test. This went terribly last time, but here's hoping we do better this time. We then decide to do some mountain fishing. We take ourselves to the new mines today, and it takes us longer than it should to figure out the new gimmick, which is awful, by the way. They've added a time limit, which only increases the panic we feel, on top of which there are now floor tiles that'll disappear after you've stepped on them. As far as I can tell, they don't come back until the mine resets. And there are enemies that can hurt us just by running into them, and lava pools on the floor that also hurt. The most important thing to remember is to find where the fire rock goes before picking it up, as the arrow that points the way is not always very helpful. But hey, 6 levels is a pretty good first mine day, I'd say. We don't, however, remember to water our crops. Not really sure about this one, given that we go out of the way to water the flowers. We then head off to frog hunt until bedtime. We start the day by making seals, as they are gonna be a lifesaver. And for the life of me, I cannot figure out how to shear the second woolly horn. Maybe I'm wrong, but I was pretty sure we were doing it every day for a while there. Also, I don't know that there would have been a day when I only sheared one of them, so that they would be off sync. I guess he just wants to stay woolly. Today's a mine prep day, so we are making potions and running around town in search of frogs. At least it's raining, so we can forget to water the crops again. We're right back into the mines this morning, seals in hand, and the first 4 floors have been handled. The internet told me the doors would stay open, and I thought they meant forever, and the seals would just be like for fast traveling, because I'm dumb, and also because I really wanted to believe that. I get that normal people do not feel extremely panicked when put under a time limit where the only real consequence is having to start over again, but I hate it here. And given that gom potions cannot save me from stupid floor gears and lava pools, I'm back to wishing for an invincibility mode. By floor 7, we've already run into the need to upgrade our tools again. We mine our hearts out and managed to make it down 3 more floors. We do pass out catching critters in the mountain and neglect to water the crops. Thank God for those beans in the hydro soil. Miraculously, the turnips and turnip fern beets are ready to harvest, and of course the beans are as well. We've also successfully bred our first black flower. We go tell Holly about our strange miracle, and apparently, if your backpack is full, rewards can be sent directly to storage. What wizardry is this? Anyway, step 2 in Seed Soil Fed's quest is to give Holly 10 hearty salads. So we put those on and go back to the mountain to catch a few critters and get some frost thistle while we wait. We then go and deliver the salads to Holly, who again gives us seeds, this time for acorn squash. We obviously can't plant any of the seeds that we've gotten from Holly until next fall, but as rewards go, it's pretty great. The next stop is our date with Puria, and we chat about the innate romance of dormant volcanoes, and learn that she hates predictability and sees beauty in disaster. Today is Seed and Soil Festival Day. It's pretty much the same as all the other festivals. We take ourselves to the saltwater mines today. We've been watching more FAE FARM tip videos, and apparently a really good way to make money is polishing the bottom 4 gems here, which like we kind of already knew, but also we're kind of lazy. However, the person in the video just managed to jump around the jumbles and made it look easy enough we thought we could also do it. So we did, and oh my god is it crazy easy to jump out of the line of fire when you're not also trying to fight them. With more time left in the day, we decide to try and finish our job quest. Start it, really. And Zito is sitting in the worst spot possible, and we lose a critter because of him. But we did get 1 rare critter out of today, so we'll call it a win anyway. And we've started the new season, which means our beans are dead. But I also get to catch and harvest new things, which always excites me. And hang on, turns out the acorn squash is in fact a winter vegetable. The letter we got in the mail called it an acorn cabbage, but whatever. whatever. I've just always associated squashes and gourds with fall. Not complaining. And we do plant them. Wonder how many days we'll actually remember to water them. We're then off to continue our rare FAE critter hunt. With all the new things happening this morning, it's too late to start a mine day. And really, we'll take any excuse to avoid the mines. And hey, if we keep going at this rate, it'll be 2 more days of active searching before the job quest is done. It's even raining today. Well, snowing, I guess. But it still waters the crops for us. And with no reasonable excuse, we take our sorry asses back to the spring mines. We set the next 4 seals in place and desperately search for a different fire rocks closer to the podium we have to put it on. There isn't one, at least not under any of the things our tools can currently mine. Also, probably if you spawn one, you cannot spawn another. So eventually we give in and give it a go and make it on the first try. Even though our Gone potion ran out mid-run, really should have at least tried instead of mining everything else first. But I guess it doesn't really matter, because after taking a new Gone potion, we run into a fear and lava pool and die. Given that we've used it, we go see if the Gone potion also fools critters. It doesn't, so we go back into the FAE realm, where this time Valorandi is the person who loses us a critter, but it doesn't matter in the end, as we catch the final 2 rare critters we need and head back to Mel, obviously taking on the next level of job quest. It's back into the mines today, and level 9 is challenging. The run of the fire rock is long, and my bad platforming skills mean that we regularly fall off the edge into lava. Level 11's fire rock run is a fucking miracle stats. We find the fire rock in the beginning of the level, and it decides to follow us before we've had a chance to skid it out, but make it anyway. But on level 12, the game crashes. At least we didn't spawn in a rock this time, but now we've got to do the mine all over again. We need an emotional break for the mine, and so we go catch mountain critters for our job quest. So we accept the next level up, and then catch 8 fire-based mountain critters. So we go back to Mel, the next level up being predictably rare critters. It's 8 this time though, instead of 4, but it's also the last level of the job quest, and the only thing standing between us and the outfit we desperately need. And Galan tells us they've never had to fight a jungle before, which feels careless. They should have at least taken stock lines away from characters if it didn't make sense for them to say it. That doesn't feel like a big ask. Today we decide to handle some more flower breeding. Again, I'm certain at this point that if we get new wings, we'll be able to jump higher or fly or something. Just have the ability to reach things that sit on top of pillars. Luckily for us, the purple wings ask for a flower we can get from a seed. Our pickaxe is upgraded to the red one. I'm not gonna try and pronounce that word. I don't want to. We haven't caught any rare critters yet, so we switch our job quest to cinders, as that's easily completable. It does mean going back into the ruins, but frankly, they're a cakewalk compared to the new mines, which break me so hard day or more long break in between tackling it. We still can't jump for shit though. We turn in Cinder's job quest, and the next one's too easy to not just complete now. Yes, I am avoiding the Scorch Caverns. I hate them. But we're back to Cinder by 4 to turn in the job quest. As we're running by, we stop to look at the shipping contracts, and we just made a bunch of polished sapphires. Are we finally going to complete one of these requests? We've learned though, so we'll link to accept the quest only when we have the items in hand. We also make sure to stop by Mel's to reinstate our rare critter quest and spend our evening on the mountain critter hunting. Well, I'm an idiot. I spent most of the day looking for a core on a floor we'd already opened the door for, and I walked past the open door several times. Honestly, these bloody mines are doing my head in. We got some rubies though, so we can make more seals. Not a total waste, except it is, because we needed garnet the next seals. Look, I cannot be expected to distinguish between 2 red gems while under the constant pressure that is these mines. So we go back to rare critter catching. As punishment for being so dumb yesterday, and because we're currently -3 levels of progress thanks to the craft, we head back into the mines. And we open level 10 by the skin of our teeth. Quite literally. The timer above our head turned to 0 just as we got close enough to the podium. We'll be doing that more often than my heart can take, and we make it to level 12 and break even on progress. And now with some garnet in our pockets, we'll be back armed with seals. We collect the seals and then go about watering the craft and flowers. Today is a mine break day, so instead we look into upgrading more tools to the red metal and then head up mountain to catch some more critters. We obviously also pick up resources while we're there. Around 1:30, we head home to pick up the ingots for the shovel and take them to cinder. Everything on the mountain takes ages, but the peat moss dig spots bother me most. We take the long way back and continue to run around the mountain in search of rare critters till midnight. It's a mine day today, but first watering. And then we get to the mine and realize we didn't empty the inventory, so we try that again. We didn't have quite enough garnet to craft the final red seal, which sucks. And starting at level 12, we're back to running a fire rock to a podium. Does it make the dungeon happy or something? Seems like a shitty door locking mechanism. Floor 14 is the first time there are no flame pillars too long away, and it's not a short distance. We have to go from the front of the floor to the back in 15 seconds. Third time's the charm, I guess, because we get lucky and manage to succeed. We make it to level 15 before bedtime. We have a letter from Zito about something called the FAE Festival. Seems kind of early for it to be the end of season festival, but who knows? We'll have to go see him and find out. And Jack thinks we're dating, which I guess in the strictly literal sense we are, but we're certainly not in a relationship of any kind that I know of. Seriously, where's Argyle? Maybe he's glitched and the game now thinks we've been on 4 dates with him instead of 2, and we just won't get those missing dates? That's a shame. Though I mean, really, there isn't a romance candidate who I'd want to be in a romantic relationship with. It's a bit of a late start to the mines this morning, given that we had to wait for the final red seal to be crafted, but we also placed seals up to level 16, which is a big improvement and quite a bit of progress. The next gem is diamond, and while we do pick up quite a few of those, we're also really ready to be done with this mine and try to speed our way down. But the game was not in our favor, and we only make it to level 19. I mean, there are a few hours left in the day when we call it quits, but it was one of the levels where most of the floor disappears out from under you, and I wasn't ready to deal with that anymore. We spent some time looking for critters and gathering frost thistle, but we've learned from yesterday and decided to head home earlier to put on seals and potions and things so we don't have to wait in the morning. We only had enough diamonds for 2 seals, so what I should be doing is prioritizing diamond mining. Instead, I place a seal down on level 18 and then proceed to forget that fact, even when we're directly in front of the open door. I think my brain is melting, y'all. So we mine everything on floor 18, well, except for the grass because our sickle isn't strong enough, and then confused, we leave the mine. This is what break days are for, but I'm kind of getting impatient at this point and trying really hard to get it done within the 100-day deadline. I have enough diamonds to craft the final 2 seals, which is certainly a win. We also start crafting more ingots in hopes of upgrading more tools. We have the gold bases for the final 4 seals already crafted, so we even start making some gold bars. The acorn squash is ready to harvest, and it seems like they're a bean more because they don't disappear when we harvest them. Convenient, I guess, since we didn't bother to plant actual beans this season. We go see Zito this morning about his FAE festival, which is a festival to celebrate the Wisp Mother. But Zito says she's left a prize for the person who can make it, an occasion to remember. We then set out to catch the 12 FAE critters we need, which doesn't take very long, and we head back to see what we need to do next. And now he needs flutter dust for matters. Had he not phrased it like that, I wouldn't have thought it was a weird request, but now I'm unsure. We get home and realize that flutter dust doesn't even come from FAE critters at all. They give us FAE dust. Maybe that's why he's being so weird, because he wasted so much of our time catching critters that aren't even going to help us with the next step, which is usually how these quests go. We gather a thing and then use the thing to make a thing. Not here. So we feed some normal critters to the conservatory and then waste the time it'll take for them to get eaten to look for more rare mountain critters. We also pick up a few more butterflies on the way in case what we had wasn't enough, but it is enough, exactly enough. So we head off to hand it over to Zyda for his matters. He really hyped up this gift, but the Wisp Mother only gives us a small gone potion, which, while useful, is also underwhelming. But we're back on the mountain to get critters. We are currently at 6 of 8, so nearly there. We spend way too long chasing this demon frog, but it's also having the issue where the catch circle doesn't appear. We've got seals to place and a new gem to discover, so we head back into the mine. Get lost on floor 21 because we can't find the podium for far too long, given that there are only so many layouts, and we know where the podium is in this one. Guess we hadn't figured out the podiums aren't random on every floor yet. It's 3 p.m. by the time we reach the next door, and that hurts. But by the skin of our teeth, just after 11, we hit the bottom of the mine. This sprite is Flammo, and they seem to have a lot in common with Mordor from the Robert Munch book, and they say they won't stop smashing things because it's fun, and then go on to demand we bring them food anyway. Flammo wins the worst sprite award. Very inconveniently, they want flame hearts, which are cauliflowers. So they'll take 8 days to be ready, so we definitely won't be done in the 100 days, and move our goalpost to 112. On our way out of the mine, catch the penultimate rare critter that we need for Mount. Today is FAE Festival Day, it seems, so winner gets 2 festivals, or is this one just randomly in the middle for shits and giggles? Anyway, as we head out of town hall, we run into Jack and agree to go on that date he asked for, and he tells us he thinks we're cute, and we say we think he's cute. That's hard-coded into the game, by the way, so good luck if you don't think he's cute, I guess? I don't know. I find it really weird that we don't have any say in what our character says, given that we apparently say quite a bit. We then go pick up some cauliflower seeds and crop spot fertilizer, only to return home and realize we have 6 flame heart seeds in storage already, so we take ourselves to the FAE farm and plant them instead. Then we go drop off all the things we had on hand to Flammo and go red metal mining to get the sickle up to snuff for the fireweed. So we put on the ingots and wait for them to be ready before heading straight to Cinder to upgrade the sickle. And we still have heat resistance, so we head back into the mine for the fireweed, which we don't drop off because I hadn't clocked that we didn't need fireproof fireproof potion to see Plamo, and our fireproof potion finishes exactly as we exit the mine. Our first step of the day is to water the crops, including the FAE Farm one, especially the FAE Farm one. They are the most important crop. We drop off the ancient lumber and fireweed and learn that this level, for whatever reason, is not hot enough that will catch fire for being here, even though I feel like it should be the hottest since it's the one with the sprite. I should shut up and not complain about a good thing, and then head out and catch the final rare critter and rush off to Mills, and we claim the final reward, a hat, which looks really cute until we realize that it comes with hair, and I'm just not into that look. We also discover the biggest disappointment to come out of the whole thing. When the outfit said finish all the job quests, it meant finish all the job quests and then I'll tell you what I want you to do, which is completing the entire critter section of the almanac. What does this game have against giving us clothes? And now they're locking them behind completionist requirements? I mean, that isn't really the way I like to play games. Case in point, we've never finished the museum in Animal Crossing. This is just as bad, if not worse, than locking the ability to have colorful clothes behind flower breeding. And it looks like it'll be a really cute outfit too. Thanks. I hate it here. Dejected and devastated, we head off to accept Cinder's job quest for polished rubies. I'm afraid to learn what the requirement for that outfit will be. To cheer ourselves up, we go on a date with Kira, and she calls us Little Light, and I don't know, it just felt really nice. And then she wanted to listen to us tell her about all of our adventures, not just the disaster parts. We make sure to water the flame hearts before turning in our job quest to Cinder and picking up the next one. We then set up to head back to the fire mines, which means dropping off the medium fire potions so we don't accidentally use them instead. Another reason why the game should have a warning of potions about to wear off so I can have a minute to find the right potion I want in the inventory, because even though the inventory pauses time, it doesn't pause the spread of buffs or the area of effects, so you can burn to death. Also, enemies can still kill you. Literally, the only thing that's paused is the actual physical clock. So I panic hit the button and auto drink whatever the game decides it wants to give me. We hand in the red medal and collect the next quest to polish 8 diamonds. Well, 80, really. We do not have a lot of diamonds on us, so we decide to go back into the mine. And when it hits 11, we don't want to waste another gone potion, so we decide to fight enemies instead, and then die. We start the day by upgrading our axe, and realize that our watering can isn't even pay right yet. So we start crafting some of those bars before heading back into the mines. We then finally remember that zippy fertilizer exists, and head off to buy some of that. But a thing I really like about the game is that when you buy something you can craft, the game tells you how many you can craft with the stuff you already have, and we decide to do that instead of buying it. So we head out this morning and add some zippy fertilizer to the flame hearts, and then we can't water them. Now in editing, I can see that it's clearly watered, and also I know about the rain thing, but we do not know that while we are playing the game. And so the conclusion I come to is that you cannot water and fertilize a thing on the same day. We get our Fae right watering can finally, and then go back to the Fae farm and try to water the flame hearts again, and then plant frost beets to see if we can water them, which of course we can't because the soil's already watered. Then back into the mines for more diamonds. We only need 12 more to finish the quest, but we also need some more obsidian for seals, so we do a bit of that too. We go home and put on the seals and diamonds and silver bars for the watering can, but with several hours left in the day and nothing really pressing that we can do, we run around and say hello to people. When we reach Galan, we go have another talk. Calling it a date at this point seems wrong. Galan tells us that they love jumble fighting because they feel like doing so keeps people safe. Apparently that was something we said last time, that they should think about why they like doing the thing. Like, why are we so keen to stop Galan jumble fighting? Like, it clearly brings purpose to their life and makes them happy. And me, personally, I'd love to have Galan fight all the mine jumbles for me, so I didn't have to. We suggest that they try letting us protect them instead. I hate this plotline with all of my heart. Polished diamonds in hand, we head off to Cinder, and anticlimactically find that the final job quest is to mine 8 pieces of gold ore, which is the easiest thing possible. We water our plants and then go mining for gold, which we managed to do within the time frame of 1 gone potion. So we go back to Cinder. For this outfit, we must have produced 1 of each polished gem in the game. We're only like 2 short, so that feels doable. We don't have enough obsidian though, so that's gonna have to wait. We lost a bit of footage here, but the only noteworthy thing to happen is that we got a silver watering can and a gold pickaxe. The flame hearts are done, and I'm more excited about that than I probably should be. But we head straight off to Plamo and tell them how rude they're being, and they say it's because they're alone and angry, but since we brought them foodstuffs, we can come back tomorrow and they'll stop making the world too hot. Okay, obsidian mining take 2. We also placed the 2 final seals, meaning that we never have to make one again. Well, I mean, we'll need one for the travel spot that appeared on the map after we talked to Flamo. Kinda wish we discovered the new farms and stuff on ourselves rather than having the map spoil them for us, but whatever. We put the obsidian onto polish, and when that's done, we head off to Cinder to collect the outfit. We decide to check it out, and it feels remarkably similar to the one we could buy. Like, it's obviously different, but it's also just a tucked-in shirt with pants and tall boots. We stick with the overalls. Flamo gives us the bash spell, and together we put a lid on the volcano. Not sure that's really a long-term solution, but whatever. They then tell us to expect the Wisp Mother, which sounds rather ominous, but also then we just have to go talk to her. Maybe she's expecting us? She has one last request. She needs us to capture 4 warm critters. But first, we go mining for rose quartz, because we found a shipping contract for it, and we still need to complete one of those for a quest we got at the beginning of the game, and turns out you're only allowed to pick one. Like, you can't complete all 3. That's strange. Anyway, we go see Jade, who gives us 500 florins and sends us on our way. The new bash spell we learned is to break open these rock things, and that's pretty fun. We head off to catch all the critters for the Wisp Mother and bash open a rock that leads to our final farm. And I mean, it exists. At least there doesn't seem to be a place to store more animals, so that's a positive. We go back to the Wisp Mother, absolutely certain that she's gonna give us the power to like fly or triple jump or something. Instead, she says thanks for not beating up the sprites, and we should go tell Igni her home is no longer in danger, which she probably knows because we were just there and grass has started to grow around her stall again. We go back to looking into wings. Maybe they're such a bitch to get because they're more powerful than the ones we're given. The mystic wings, however, seem to be very obtainable, so I guess that's the new goal. Igni tells us to go see the marquee because, of course, she does. We decide to step into the fire mines for some of that garnet real quick and then head home to put that on overnight. We wake up with all the things we need for the new wing. That's obviously stop 1 today. We get them and put them on, and we don't jump any higher. Disappointed, we go see the marquis, who, without acknowledgement, just hands us 10k, which, like, is nice of him, but also maybe say thanks. Igni was talking about parades and cakes with our faces on them, so this is pretty underwhelming in comparison. But that's it, he doesn't send us anywhere, and we have no more story quests currently available. We take ourselves back to the frozen plateau to bash some more rocks, but then remember the whole Drac spell quest thing, so we try the lava pile on the farm before putting in the diamond seal. We can finally tell Drac that we banished those lava piles. You know, the thing he asked us to do when we started the fire mines? Oh, and he gives us the bash quest. And having already smashed some rocks apparently counts for this quest, and we turn it in immediately. We then head straight for the saltwater mines. We had prepared ahead and had Cleo's job quest active, so we're gonna have to try and figure out how to jump to the compass, which ended up being easier than I thought, or maybe we just got really lucky. Cleo's next clue pretty much just says, go to the spooky woods. But we stop off to get a gold axe first, and then find the compass, which is where she said it was. Most of these clues are just like unbelievably straightforward. Anyway, Cleo's taking herself off the map again. Do other characters do this? And I've just like never noticed. Where does she go? Grell is also apparently a character on the map. None of the other sprites are. So we go and check to see if there's a reason that he's there. And we should talk to him maybe, but it doesn't seem to be anything. While we're here though, we decide to break another rock. By which point Cleo has rejoined society and we head down to get the next quest. The exact wording for this clue is, find my 4th marker to the Wisp Mother's left. Not really leaving a whole lot of room for us to figure anything out here, but we go and get it and then head back to Cleo. Next stop to the floating ruins. And we manage to get back before she leaves for the night and get to pick up one final clue today. So we go to see the ruin sprite and get that compass before bed. The Wisp Mother is back in our dreams and asks us to come get a thing from her. The Warm Hearth Festival is the Winter Fest. Guess Winter just gets 2, and Frida's the one we've got to talk to. Also, Galan sounds like they're having a time, so we should probably go see them as well. Pretty sure the Wisp Mother said she had something she wanted us to take. Turns out what she actually wants is more polished gems. Cleo sends us to Grell's lair. For the festival, Frida needs some food. Can someone tell me why the Spring Festival quest is the hardest one to complete? We very conveniently have none of the gems that the Wisp Mother wants. Adventuring Quest 8 did in fact stump me pretty hard. Like, obviously, it was in the mountains somewhere, and the only place we hadn't really explored up there was the farm, but that can wait. First, we go get some topaz, which isn't particularly difficult, but our inventory is full. What quest did we get all these gems from? Oh, hey, that fake critter we dropped on level 21 is also here on level 24. Galen's waiting for us right outside the mines, and they've tried to do other things, but fighting jumbles is the only thing they're good at. Like they tried farming and hated it. Our advice? Reframe how you think about farming, because God forbid we let you into the mines to fight jumbles. I know I don't really do a bunch of farming in this game, but we're kind of also the farmer around town, and seem really okay with Galan getting in on that action. I think Rosie really needs to take a look at herself, instead of just telling Galan that they can't do the thing they love doing because we're the hero of Asoria. It's gross, and I hate it. After that disaster, we go to the frozen farm for Cleo Compass, and can't find it. Namely because we didn't realize we could go further on the map. We check the rest of the mountain, in case we were wrong about the farm. Nope, instead we just fish for Frida. The Wisp Mother decides to communicate the old-fashioned way, and send us a letter about a magical staff recipe she wants us to have, and also an invitation to our own party that invites us to come and join Rosie and friends. Nobody's perfect, I guess. And grilled fish and veggies is a much more involved recipe than I'd realized. Really hope we'll have enough ingredients, and that the reward for the questline will be worth it. We stop by the Wisp Mother to see about the staff, and can't get her to talk about it. And it's not in the shops. Confused, we head back out. Today's mind adventure is getting emeralds in the ruins. We even do a pretty good job beating up Jumble. Our god potion wears off. We did indeed have all the ingredients that we needed, and we take the dishes to Frida, who gives us butter and demands 5 jumbleberry pies. What exactly is a jumbleberry? Because as established, jumbles are animated inanimate objects. I have questions. Also, this bitch is only gonna give us like 12 sugar in return. Like, the butter's at least useful, since we don't have cows. Sugar's just hanging out on the beach. I looked up what we needed for the pies, and apparently we also need flour. One of those things we've just never come across in the game. I go see if the cook guy will sell it to us, and he doesn't. But the internet tells me about a store I genuinely had no idea existed. And that guy sells us flour. The jumbleberry pie uses mixed berries. I mean, it has to. It's the only berry option in the game. So maybe it meant jumble isn't, like, mixed up? I don't know. Still don't like it, though. Oh, and she doesn't even give us enough butter for the pies? Like, thankfully Dominic also sells that, but that's fucked up, Frida. Back to Cleo's compass. Eventually I cheated and looked it up. Sorry for assuming that the area off camera leads to the nothing we keep falling into when we jump everywhere on the mountain. We go give Frida the pies in exchange for 12 sugar. Not worth it. It doesn't even replace the sugar we needed to make the pies. Never doing that quest again. Cleo's final 2 quests are straightforward as the rest of them. Go to lava, then go see Flemmo. Bing, bang, done. But Cleo's gone before we can make it back to her. Well then, obviously, we head directly to Cleo and turn in the final quest. Apparently we've already completed the extra outfit quest, so that's nice. Admittedly, it's also a shirt tucked into pants with tall boots. Not a whole lot of variety in the outfit options in this game. We then go back to the fire mine for the diamond and obsidian we need and set those up to polish. Maybe we'll get the staff after we give her all the gems? When we hit it in, she tells us about the frozen farm that we already know about. But I guess she gives us the house on the farm, maybe? Then she says the party she invited us to will be tomorrow morning. Still no word on the staff, though. Fishing is the next job quest set that we're going to complete. Not really sure why, given that to get the outfit, we likely have to catch all of the fish in the game, but that's what we do. Fishing 8 asks us for deep sea fish. Still no idea what the hell those are, and I'd really like to be introduced to them, by the game somehow. Instead, we head to the internet, who tells us if we swim out far enough in the right direction, there's more land on which to fish. It's also very hard to stand in the right place to reach the deep sea fish, but we get it and catch 2 anglerfish. Next step, predictably, is to catch a rare deep sea fish. So we head back to where we were, and what do you know? A rare deep sea fish. Took ages, but we got it. Nessa then wants us to catch 2 seafood creatures. The internet tells us there is another spot we can swim out to and fish at. We find the spot with the rock that we needed to break, like the internet said. It wasn't the right spot, though. There is another one. Honestly, how are you supposed to know about this shit? Or even know that the fish out here would classify differently and not be saltwater fish? We managed to hook a guy, but it's midnight before we reel them in. As promised, our party happens, and the Wisp Mother makes it rain clovers. And the credits roll forever. They put all the individual copyright license agreements in the credits. Why? We then take ourselves straight to the Wisp Mother, hoping that it's staff time now. Turns out it is, but that crafting recipe she wanted us to have, which, implies she's just gonna hand it over. Instead, we must pay in polished gems and ancient lumber. I don't really think I like the Wisp Mother all that much. And we then head back out to the seafood creature spot and immediately get pulled into the water. The game suggests we use food to buff our skill, but that was a rare one. We were fine with the regular one last night, so we try again and get a pufferfish. The next fish looks identical to the one we just got, but suddenly we can't catch it either. Those 3 seem to have been our allotted amount of seafood creatures, so we reluctantly head home to craft some food. But first, date with Puria, and she says she loves us, which is sweet, but the way she says it is kind of creepy. Anyway, that's done now, and given how much we don't want to make food, we decide to go see if our date would spawn more fish, and it worked. And this pufferfish is catchable. Back to Nessa, so she can tell us we now need a rare seafood creature. We're in denial, and so we go and try and catch a rare one, only to be pulled back into the water again. I don't really know why I was being this stubborn about it. The next one goes better, but we still don't catch it. Turns out we needed chopped seafood creatures for the best buff anyway, so it's not really a wasted day. We take our asses back to seafood creature country, and inconveniently, there aren't any rare fish. We're not gonna waste the food on the non-rare fish, but maybe catching them will spawn rarer fish. We fall off the dock while trying to cast the line, and when we get back up, even those fish are gone. There's nothing. So we try being patient. Fishing is about patience. Then we get bored and try to see if going through a loading screen will respawn the fish. No good. And then I spend an unreasonable amount of time trying to use the FAE fire spell to light the campfire. No good. We wait a bit more and then try to see if going on a date will respawn the fish. Seemed to work yesterday. So we go find Pepper, who wants to ask us about Azoria. But you were here when we arrived. You've been here longer than we have. She also gets really anxious about things we've already fixed. But I get it. Game isn't expecting us to go on our second day with our post-storyline. Back to the dock, where there are still no fish. We fell into the water this morning, and there have been no fish since. Why doesn't this game want us to finish the job quest? Why? Yes, we do stand on the dock until midnight, just in case. Today is our very last day. Here's hoping there'll be some rare fish. At this point, I'm just really focused on getting the fish. There is one fish, but it's not rare, so we decide to go check out the festival for a bit. And we might even be able to get some of it. We do the rounds and talk to the people before heading back to the dock. Maybe catching this fish will spawn a rare one in? Not yet. But what does happen is the game crashes. But hey, maybe the new last day will have some rare fish. We reharvest the squash before going to the dock, where there are indeed more seafood creatures. None of them are rare though. But we try the catching fish strategy again. We catch two, but don't really have the patience to try and get the last two to see the lure. So we go and repeat the festival, exactly like we did last time. At which point we go and make a tuber salad and get a carrot nose, which is cute, but takes off the glasses. And I really like the glasses. Back on the dock, a rare fish has arrived! So we eat our crab cake, and catching the rare fish is absurdly easy, easier than catching normal saltwater fish. This game sure does love its consumables with temporary benefits. We're already here, and we already ate the crab cake, so catch the other two fish to make it feel like less of a waste, and then beeline to Nessa. We're much further away from getting the fish almanac completed, but honestly, this outfit looks exactly like the other ones we've unlocked, so is it really worth it? We do go fish for some deep sea fish for a bit, then find Drac for more job quests. I guess this is our life now in FAE FARM. Job quests and flower breeding. Genuinely, having played this much of a game, I can safely say that the cons outweigh the pros with this one, and with tax here in Canada, it's like $90 on the Switch. So I cannot in good faith recommend the game, and it's also safe to say that there won't be a 200 days of FAE FARM coming soon. But we've done this one, and if you liked the video, you could hit that like button, and leave me a comment down below. Let me know how you feel about FAE FARM, what you think of the video, how badly I suck at fighting, literally anything at all. And of course, if you think you might like to do this again sometime, you could hit that subscribe button. But I'll see y'all soon. Goodbye!